the restoration of macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. Following the derailment of the IMF program as at end 2024, the government of President Mahama acted decisively to bring the program back on track and to recalibrate it by implementing a front-loaded fiscal consolidation, bold expenditure rationalization. PCI is a form of technical assistance engagement with the IMF. It is a non-financing instrument designed to help countries implement economic reforms and signal commitment to policies that the financial market will be very comfortable.
Ghana's ACF supported program has delivered impressive stabilization gains. Inflation has declined rapidly, reserves have been rebuilt, and confidence in the cedi has been restored. Fiscal discipline improved markedly, with a strong primary surplus and sharp decline in the debt ratio. Despite fiscal consolidation, what is very impressive, growth has been very strong and even stronger than what we expected, supported by broad-based private sector recovery and robust exports. These outcomes reflect determined policy implementation and progress in debt restructuring, and they mark an important turning point for the Ghana.
Regulate legal education and ensure the highest standards in terms of legal education, but also to open up the space, for more opportunity for legal education in Ghana. This particular act has been one that many aspiring lawyers have been looking up to, so it's been signed.
This morning, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana has signed into law the Legal Education Bill 2026. As he himself said, this is a much anticipated reform bill or reform law that is supposed to radically reform legal education to create equality of opportunity for persons aspiring to be lawyers in this country. As a result of the fact that presidential assent has been given to the law, we are now ready for implementation. Immediate implementation will start with the establishment of the Council for Legal Education, which is the body that will oversee legal education in the country. We'll also start the process of accreditation of the law schools that will be running the law practice course for those who have LLBs and desire to write the bar exam. All of that will start this year. We'll be making budgetary provision for the implementation in the 2027 budget to be announced by the finance minister in November this year.
Represent the restoration of macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. Following the derailment of the IMF program as at end 2024, the government of President Mahama acted decisively to bring the program back on track and to recalibrate it by implementing a front-loaded fiscal consolidation, bold expenditure rationalization. PCI is a form of technical assistance engagement with the IMF. It is a non-financing instrument designed to help countries implement economic reforms and signal commitment to policies that the financial market.
Ghana's ACF supported program has delivered impressive stabilization gains. Inflation has declined rapidly, reserves have been rebuilt, and confidence in the cedi has been restored. Fiscal discipline improved markedly, with a strong primary surplus and sharp decline in the debt ratio. Despite fiscal consolidation, what is very impressive, growth has been very strong and even stronger than what we expected, supported by broad-based private sector recovery and robust exports. These outcomes reflect determined policy implementation and progress in debt restructuring, and they mark an important turning point.
Eda Ghana fo nyina ene ewiase amansan nyina esu onyumtini kese a ne din ede Charles Kojo Fosu a dodo na frɛ no Daddy Lumba. Now yɛhwɛ enema papa a Daddy Lumba aye ede ama Ghana.
Honorable member, please, let's go by the rules.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I will be happy to translate after I've concluded with the tree into the English language. If you can indulge me, please.
Very well.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Daddy Lumba, Abwa Magana Din Apeja Bibri. I believe and I know that Daddy Lumba has actually.
Well, this man, the Member of Parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency, has been detained, and it's been 5 days so far, the 5th day. There has not been any official communication of the reason for his detention. There's been, some suggestions as to exactly what has led to his detention. There is some information which is available to the majority caucus in Parliament, because even though he's an independent candidate, he chose to do business with the majority. So the Majority Chief Whip Nelson Roxon Dapiamepo is going to be joining us this morning. Now, Parliament is also being called upon to ask a question as to whether Article 117 applies to this Member of Parliament in this circumstance. There are some who say, no, well, look, this is a moot question, because really he was detained, if you will, arrested outside of the jurisdiction of Ghana. So what are the immunities and courtesies that should be extended to him? Well, I have some fine brains, legal brains, who are going to be joining us this morning to have a conversation about the detention of Ohene Kwame Frimpong and matters arising. That dovetails directly also to another matter of law this morning. The legal education reforms bill, which was assented to by the president, it is law now. So the legal education reforms that have been talked about, now it's law. What happens after this assent by the president? What's the roadmap? What are we to expect? What's the way forward? What are the legal effects of what has happened this week? And how is it going to address the challenges in the existing legal education structure? Well, there are some questions. There's some clarification a number of people have been asking, including this matter of the entrance exam. That's a thorny one, which some of you, my viewers, are preparing to write in the next couple of months. And then this has happened. So what's your fate? What happens next? We'll have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. Also, yesterday, the finance minister made an announcement. Ghana has successfully concluded its external credit facility program, that's the ECF, with the International Monetary Fund, achieving macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. In fact, it's ahead of schedule. The development marks the formal end of the country's financial bailout arrangement with the IMF, following what officials describe as a sharp economic turnaround after the program veered off track in late 2024. Now, the question ahead of us is, there's now another arrangement now that the Finance Ministry and the IMF have entered into to ensure that Ghana stays disciplined and also within all the parameters that would help investor confidence and the growth that we are talking about. Stability has been achieved, but beyond stability, what next? This is where the Policy Coordination Instrument, the PCI, that was announced yesterday kicks in. What exactly does this mean? How is this going to also impact or influence the development we're looking for beyond the stability? We'll have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guest will be joining us in the studio. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London, and Voice of London television as well, a number of radio stations across the country. And this is on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W93.5 in Wa, and a few more. We will be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Ghana for nyinaa ene ewiase amansan nyinaa esu onyumtini kɛseɛ a ne din ɛde Charles Kojo Fosu a dodoɔ no afrɛ no Daddy Lumba. Now yɛhwɛ nneɛma papa a Daddy Lumba ayɛ ɛde ama Ghana.
Honorable member, please, let's go by the rules.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I will be happy to translate after I've concluded with the tree into the English language. If you can indulge me, please.
Very well.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Daddy Lumba Abwa Magana Din Apeja Bibri. I believe and I know that Daddy Lumba has actually made Ghana a, I would say, a hub, a musical hub, where a lot of Ghanaians do connect. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll summarize it up and say that Daddy Lumba is a great musician. He has connected Ghana to the world, and so I pray that the government of today helps the family to have a befitting burial for him. Ghana for nyinaa ene ewiase amansan nyinaa esu onyumtini kɛseɛ a ne din ɛde Charles Kojo Fosu a dodoɔ no afrɛ no Daddy Lumba. Now yɛhwɛ nneɛma papa a Daddy Lumba ayɛ ɛde ama Ghana.
Honorable member, please, let's go by the rules.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I will be happy to translate after I've concluded with the tree into the English language. If you can indulge me, please.
Very well.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Daddy Lumba Abwa Magana Din Apeja Bibri. I believe and I know that Daddy Lumba has actually made Ghana a, I would say, a hub, a musical hub, where a lot of Ghanaians do connect. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Welcome back to the Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're also on 3 News on YouTube, on TV3 Ghana on YouTube and Facebook as well, and on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London, the Voice of London Television as well. As always, this Key Point is proudly brought to you by GASEM, the nation builder, and also Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. This morning, in fact, about 5 days ago, we were just about getting into the late hours of the day when Parliament gave us confirmation of what we, the media, had already picked up earlier in the day. That this member of Parliament, the man you just heard him speak, the Asante Achim North Member of Parliament, Ohene Kwame Frimpong, affectionately called OK Frimpong, had been detained at the Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands. As we speak, 5 days on, which is quite uncharacteristic, or you would want to say, not one that we've been used to when it comes to the United States coming in for people of interest to them for one reason or the other. We get to know the exact reason why these persons are being picked up, or the United States' interest in the people that they come in for from Ghana. But this gentleman, the member of parliament, as we speak, almost 5 days on, if there is any official communication, we don't know yet as to the exact reason for his detention. There's been speculation, but there hasn't been any official communication as yet. But this is the notice that Parliament put out the evening of the day, almost 5 days ago, that we got this information. Ebenezer Ahuma Jethro, who is the clerk to Parliament, posted this statement that Parliament takes notice of reported detention of the Asante Achim North Member of Parliament. Eventually, it was a confirmed detention, as we know now. Kwame Ohene Frimpong in Amsterdam. Speaker and leadership are in touch with Ghana's mission for details. That was the day that the media had reported this particular incident. So, as to whether there's been some further detail beyond what we reported and what is happening to him, we'll get to know this morning, because a very, very critical member in the mix of this particular matter is going to be joining us in the studio to give us some updates on what we have heard so far and what we have not heard. So stay with us. As we do know, hails from Agogo, the Ashanti region, represents that constituency. This man burst into the scene, defeated Andy Appiah Kubi as the incumbent member of parliament in 2024, that election. He decided to go independent after he couldn't sail through to represent a party in that particular election. He won with almost 18,000 vote difference between him and Andy Appiah Kubi, a sitting member of parliament. Over 18,000. This is it. It's almost, 40 years old. This is what we do know about him in terms of his education, Agri Memorial, and all of that. And then this. This is information we picked from the Parliament's website. He has been described as a businessman. These are the committees that he is on. And as you recall, not too long ago, he started this whole conversation about the campaign financing. And he had made some comments about the monetization in campaigning and other measures that can be put in place to ensure that the amount of money spent on campaigning will be reduced. Well, all of this ties into what we're going to be talking about this morning. Parliament has been called upon. In fact, when Parliament confirmed that this particular news of the detention of the Member of Parliament, now Parliament has been confirmed to have now sent a certain request for some information. They have also been called upon to interpret, in fact, whether or not Article 117 of the 1992 Constitution applies to this gentleman, this Member of Parliament who has been detained in the United States. So there are some persons who are saying, look, if there's a matter of interpretation, then we should go to the Supreme Court through Parliament to get that understanding. But is there really a case? Is there really a question to be answered there? I have some fine legal brains this morning, or joining us, to have a conversation on this matter. First off, let me start off with the non-lawyer, but he is one person who has followed this matter quite extensively. He is an energy analyst by passion, and then also is a finance analyst as well, as far as I've known him over the last, almost 12 years. Kojopo Kunsafwa is joining us in the studio. He's a co-chair for the Energy Committee of the New Patriotic Party. He also one time aspired to lead the party as its flag bearer. Kojo Pokunsafo, good morning to you.
Good morning, Alfred. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
It's been a while.
It's been a while indeed.
You've abandoned your only brother.
No,
You've
I
made
haven't.
new friends.
No.
Mark,
Your old friends are the best.
We know that, but you've made new ones and left the ones you knew.
I haven't made new friends. You are still my friend. You know. Also joining us for the first time, by the way, on a Saturday morning, Amanda Clinton is private legal practitioner. She's a passionate Ghanaian at heart. Amanda, it's good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Also joining us shortly is Martin Pebble, is private legal practitioner, and then also a member of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team is going to be joining us. And Nelson Roxon Dapiamepo is member of parliament for the South Dyke constituency. He's the majority chief whip in this 9th parliament. He's also being prepared. He'll be joining us right now or shortly. And then also we would have Professor Apije Etua. He is an expert in international relations and diplomacy. He's a lecturer at the University of Ghana Law School. He'll also be joining us. We'll have a conversation this morning. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, I want to get some quick initial thoughts from you. When we got wind of this particular news and the detention of this member of parliament and the fact that parliament has now given a clear indication of what you're doing, getting some more information about why he has been picked up. We're going to go into the legal questions that are coming up. But, Kojo, first of all, how did you react to this particular news of his arrest, the detention 2 or 3 days ago?
Good morning, and I'd like to say good morning to your viewers. A very good morning to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the leader of the MPP, and also good morning to Kwabri East and then the Puano residents, my hometown people. Look, Alfred, whenever a reputable, that's why they are called honorable. You know, whenever a member of parliament, an honorable member of the August House is involved in such allegations, and I want to call it allegations at this point because he's only been arrested pending all the subsequent trials, whether guilty or not guilty, we'll find out later. But it's a bit disturbing because, you see, we live among a lot of people and we work with a lot of people, and the question now becomes, do we really know the people we work with and the people we actually do our day-to-day business with? If the allegations that we are hearing are true, then it's very disturbing. Some people have come up with, oh, do we do background check? Do we do this? Look, it will be difficult to be able to, doesn't matter the background check you do on people, it will be difficult to uncover certain things. It is only when the person, and from all the information we are getting, these were not acts that were perpetrated in Ghana. These were acts that were perpetrated in the United States of America. So unless you are doing a background check, and even if you go to the US, you wouldn't know because, look, he's still ongoing. Nobody has found him guilty or not guilty. So it's a dicey situation. It puts Ghana on a map that I'm not comfortable with. We've had the various arrests in this country and extradition battles that has gone on in this country with the Abu Trika, all the ones that have been arrested and successfully extradited, and all the ones. And look, the issue of criminality, when it starts coming up, as an investment destination where we want to be investor friendly, Ghana needs to clean up the image. Ghana is getting a very good mention on all fronts, on entertainment, on a lot of things. But then when you go to the bad column, we get these issues coming up, and it really doesn't augur well. In time past, we've had a lot of documentaries on stolen cars coming into the country. And whenever that's been done, you realize that in the US, Canada, and other countries, they have said that Ghana is the #1 destination for some of these stolen vehicles.
Absolutely.
Which is disturbing. And we've had the FBI come into Ghana to arrest some cars and all the things that is always in the news. So I prefer that the authorities take a lot of steps so that we clean up the act and the image of Ghana in that respect. 3 days ago, I was watching TikTok, and our song, Kakarika, right? It's like the #1 song that everybody celebrates with around the world, right? And every time the music is played, somebody will ask, hey, doesn't matter whether I'm China, Japan, India, or whatever. If you see, you ask, hey, where is this song from, right? And the next thing is, it's a Ghanaian song. So we are promoting the image and the name of the country in some positive light. Some of these things, when it happens, really drag down a lot of these progress that we've made in years. In fact, when you watch the last, was it the Emmy or Oscar, when one of the actors who was receiving an award made a specific mention how his father has come from Ghana.
Yes.
Right? So it tells you that people are taking... Michael B. Jordan, yes. It tells you that Ghanaian people are taking pride in his father coming from Ghana. I'm sure his father came from any other country. You would have even made that effort to mention it. But today, everybody is trying... Look, I know people who on their calendar has marked it and saving in their piggy bank for 30 December, right? And it's the #1 thing now. So it's disturbing. For me, when I heard it, I thought, look, if it's true, then it's really sad. And then
we precede that with an conditional clause of if, because it is still
if
an
it's
allegation,
true,
obviously, which is being investigated now. Amanda, bring you in on this one, because I know that throughout the last 3 or 4 days after this matter became public, you have had cause to speak about it at one point or the other. We're not going to get into the legalities because there are a number of questions we'll seek to answer, whether or not, Article 117 applies in this instance and why the United States actually chose to go on this route of not going through the normal extradition treaty that we have with them, that they have used in other instances. With Abutrika and others, and those who have actually been sent there per their request and per investigations that have been conducted, but rather decided to have this member of parliament leave the jurisdiction before he was detained and now being questioned. So, first of all, what's your take on the events surrounding his detention before we get into the nitty-gritties? Yes.
Well, about the events surrounding it, I think first and foremost, as a politically exposed person, it is very difficult for US intelligence and security agencies to share information to our counterparts. So although we have a fantastic relationship with the US and it has been a deepened relationship where there's been more and more extraditions, ultimately, I think when it comes to politically exposed people, when it is Latin America and Africa in particular, it is difficult for them to give us the heads up in case the investigation should be compromised or in case he doesn't get on the flight. And within the last 24 hours, it also seems there have been several developments. For instance, the Honourable has a lawyer in Ghana, Lawyer Elvis, who I think came out and said...
Yes, he's actually in the UK. Now, that's Elvis Edu-Amiel. Is that the person you are referring?
Yes.
He's based in the UK. There's a member of parliament who is actually his lawyer.
Yes.
That's who has been introduced as OK Frimpong's lawyer. We'll get in the bit. That's Honorable Ralph Puku Edusei, the Bekwai member of parliament. He has been named as his lead counsel, that's for this MP.
Yes, and this lead counsel has also said that, or I think the chief whip said that apart from securing legal counsel for him, even as a foreign nation, I doubt whether we were informed in any way about this April 2026 warrant. So it seems that this lead counsel in Amsterdam or in the Netherlands has got hold of a April 2026 warrant, which our chief whip says, even as a foreign nation, I doubt whether we were informed in any way. The latest news we're getting, I think, is also that Ghana will fight this in terms of they've gotten him a lawyer to resist extradition. And the chief whip is also quoted several cases, the Pinochet case, and I think the Julian Assange case, which is WikiLeaks. And these two cases, both were able to resist extradition from the UK, and I think that will apply in this case. They'll try and resist it as much as possible. In the WikiLeaks case, he resisted it, he made a plea deal, went to US territory, and the plea deal was that time served. And then in the Pinochet case, I think also UK, he wasn't extradited and he went back home and died a few years later. So ultimately, it's a bit of a diplomatic nightmare, because I do think that Ghana could have had a heads up, but American policy is not to give that heads up, in my estimation, when you're dealing with a PEP, a politically exposed person, and the information could potentially compromise that investigation.
But is that position not the breach of trust in itself, especially taking into consideration? I'm throwing this in because that's been the perspective that some have shared, considering the precedents that we've had and the kind of relationship when it comes to, persons of interest that the United States has, that's as Ghanaians, and then we volunteer information to them, because there's been another release, which I'll get into, from the Northern District of Illinois.
Yeah.
They've named a number of Ghanaians involved in romance scams. And the institutions that they are thanking for their collaboration and their support in helping to arrest these Ghanaians involved in romance scam includes IOCO, BNI, the Attorney General's office. So there's that clear support and collaboration and commitment from our side. Why are we not getting from them in such instances, or their specific requirements when it comes to, as you say, politically exposed persons, in this case, a member of parliament, and all the issues surrounding it? Before you answer that question, let me acknowledge the presence of Professor Ransford Jampo. He is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, also the CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. Prof. Jampo, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, thanks for having me. Good morning to my shippers. The Ghana Shippers Authority is now operating 24 hours. So get to the port, you see our men and women cladded in our reflectors, and they are ready to hear you out. If you have issues, let them know. We've also had our shippers app that you can go on to, log on to, and then file all manner of complaints. And then we are there. We have dedicated officials there listening, looking forward to reading from you and addressing concerns. We also, apart from our regular lines, we have dedicated mobile phone lines, and then our officers are also handling these phones 24 hours. So at any point in time, you can call them and we would find solutions to make shipping easier for you. Again, a container administrative charges. At the moment, even as we are in talks, the statement we issued informs all of you, we are capping it, reducing it from $165 to $65. And we are still talking, but for now, this is what we have been able to do. From 1st July, I'm sure by that time we would have been done with all talkings, and we'll decide whether it will have to come further down or be maintained or whatever. Right. But we are here. We came in to serve you, Ghana Shippers Authority. We want to provide solutions and interventions that addresses your shipping concern. Greetings to my mother, Auntie Mabel, and all my siblings here and abroad, and to my loving fans who call on me anytime they don't see me here. Please, Perfect. If you don't see me here, now we are growing. So Saturdays are for weddings, for funerals, for social engagement, everything. It's only the Saturday that we have. And for keep fitting. Now you don't want us to be climbing mountains, to be going to play football and all that.
You can do that.
Sometimes we want others to also come in to contribute their quota towards enriching the program. But we are there and still working for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner. Counsel, good morning. Thank you.
Morning,
Perfect.
Mr. Kansi.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to be back here once again on Ghana's #1 talk show. Unbeatable, unbreakable, and unstoppable, right? We keep popping the charts, right? And it's good to have you once again.
Perfect.
Yeah. And of course, the other rituals. Men above 40, a kind reminder to do the prostate check, right?
It's important.
Yeah, we don't want to lose you needlessly. We have no nation if we don't have men, all right?
True.
And then, of course, our valiant comrades. So for Kufu, Yas Antoa, Togbe Apede, Domahini, Osiadeyo, Ajimabedu the second, all right? And who again? Why is that last weekend, this week? I tend to always want to leave out one person, okay? Garmanche, Kentucky, Tekuchu the second. Thank you. You stood that tall when Akufo-Addo was misgoverning this country. And a lot of people chose to keep quiet because of their stomachs. But so for Akufu, who is even a relation to Akufo-Addo and who was Chief Justice, who served as Chief Justice, didn't think that she should use her familial relations with Akufo-Addo to keep quiet. She instead spoke up. So those of you who keep keeping quiet, this is not on. We can't have a nation if you're always self-centered. You're looking at the benefits yourself and your family alone. No, you must think about the nation as well. So if anything is going wrong, stand up. It doesn't matter what you're benefiting. Okay, you see Professor Jampo here. Yeah. So if anything is going wrong, it's not everything you can defend. It's not everything you can defend. When it's obviously wrong, I'm sure Jampo will speak against it. So those of you who think it's just chop time, please, you are not being citizens. Thank you.
Lawyer Martin Kpebu, Martin Luther Kpebu.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning. As I did indicate, Nelson Roxon Dafemakpo is joining us shortly. We'll also, as we go on, Kweku Ansari is a former director of the Ghana School of Law. He will also be joining us shortly. But Lawyer Clinton, I was on you before we did that quick introduction. You indicated a different approach when the United States is dealing with politically exposed persons of interest, even if there's an established and existing extradition treaty between the U.S. and another country, in this case, Ghana. So we should not be surprised with the different approach they took, because there are exceptions in this instance, because this is a member of parliament, and so they will not communicate to Ghanaian authorities that this is the person we are interested in, we're looking into this person because of A, B, and C. Instead of rather having the person detained outside of the jurisdiction. But the waiter to have him outside of the jurisdiction and then he was detained. Is that an established fact that there is a different approach to dealing with persons of interest, politically exposed persons?
Well, we don't know that for a fact in terms of, the State Department and the Department of Justice has not confirmed that. But I think even our chief whip was quoted as saying, as of yesterday, that even as a foreign nation, I doubt whether we were informed in any way. And yes, I would say that with, politically exposed people, one has to deal with them differently. And, so although the agencies do share a lot of information, and sometimes that information can be about high-profile people, etc., in order to prevent intelligence being compromised, in some instances, they would elect not to share all that information.
You see, intelligence being compromised, that borders on trust. Is that to say that they don't trust?
No, I wouldn't.
The Ghanaian authorities or collaborators in this instance?
I wouldn't say that specifically, because, for instance, Interpol Ghana sits within CID, and I've dealt with them several times. And Interpol Ghana cannot act without their instructions being minuted on by the Attorney General. So you've got this quasi-independent department that is liaising with their Interpol counterparts. But if they, for instance, see information on the red notice, et cetera, they could have to share that with certain other departments, and they can't take certain actions without, for instance, the AG minuting on that. So that sort of interdependence on an agency which would ordinarily be independent is an example of how information can be shared. But politically exposed people is a group that even banks are wary of. You know, they make you fill out an extra form at banks for that, and they're a very sensitive group,
right?
And are ordinarily handled differently. But I do also think there might be some knock-on effects because, as you mentioned, Ghana and the US relationship has deepened, particularly when it comes to extraditions in the last 12 to 24 months, particularly because, you know, we're seeking the return of our former finance minister. And, you know, should the US carry on and insist on this extradition, even though Ghana is going to fight it as they've indicated, and he does go across, I think it'll be interesting to see if in the next 12 to 24 months we see a sharp drop in the amount of people that are extradited from Ghana because of that policy-wise, how that will affect how our judiciary reciprocates and how our executive reciprocates. Because as you said, it's about trust, a diplomatic relationship, etc. And, you know, Russia, for instance, does not extradite in any form or shape. And Ghana will continue extraditing, but I think we won't give away our people so easily, perhaps in future.
I see. Well, I mean, did this also, you know, come to you as a surprise that this detention of the Member of Parliament took a different turn or different route as compared to what we have seen when it comes to the United States getting persons of interest to them in matters related to transnational crimes, romance scams, and so on? We've seen quite a number of Ghanaians extradited in that particular process. When we have our authorities notified, there's a collaborative investigation. If they are here in Ghana, they are arrested, and then, you know, the processes are employed before they are extradited. But in this instance, no information as far as we do know. And that's one thing we'll be finding out from Nelson Mursing, whether they had any hint or the Ghanaian authorities were informed that the U.S. is looking into this gentleman, that's the Member of Parliament, and so, well, just be in the know. But then we'll not arrest him. Let him get out of the jurisdiction, and then we're going to arrest him. How did that get to you?
Well, to be candid, I'm not surprised at all that Honorable Ohene Frimpong is being arrested in this fashion. The answer is glaring. No, it's about the Ofori-Atta case.
How?
Oh, yes,
how do you
straight.
link the two?
Oh, yeah, straight. We don't need to mince words about this.
I see.
It's become clear to us that Ofori-Atta is not coming anytime soon, right? Because he has the best of lawyers. The initial when it was said, people say, why do you say top-notch for lawyers? You know, John Ashcroft is one of the first persons to have supported Donald Trump when it was unpopular. But he looked in the crystal ball and saw that, look, the American people will vote for this man. So he was one of the first guys to get off the blocks through his support behind Donald Trump, and it worked. So when you have John Ashcroft as your lawyer, and he's a registered lobbyist. You see, Ghana, we don't have lobbyists specifically as professionals, even though they exist within the system. But in the US, they are registered, okay? They work in the government circles to get things done. And you know, extradition is largely political. Let's not forget that even when a judge has made the orders that, look, this person be extradited, I want the person surrounded, etc., that's not the final word. The final word is with Donald Trump. Of course, on paper, you say the Secretary of State, that's their foreign minister. But the Secretary of State derives his or her powers from Donald Trump, right? So you can connect the dots and see that as long as John Ashcroft is connected to Donald Trump, you have to have Ofori-Atta here is going to be really complex, really difficult, right? So what I see is that because of that situation where Ofori-Atta is not coming anytime soon, it would have just been, let me say, too much to ask the Ghanaian government to bring Ohene Frimpong, that's the MP. It would have been too much, because even for Abu Trike's case, you see that Ghanaians have become very savvy. Go to social media, and the chorus now is, until Ofori-Atta returns, Abu Trika is not leaving. That's very clear to us as a people. I know the FBI, they have agents here in Ghana. There are lots of Ghanaians who are even agents for them. They pick intelligence.
They have an office.
And they have an office, etc. So they are here. Everything we discuss, these programs, they monitor all these programs. So they know the sentiment of the Ghanaian. So they know that now we've become savvy that, we've sent them too many people. So until they bring Ofori-Atta, we don't want any of our citizens going. Okay? So to ask the Ghanaian government to bring Ohene Frimpong, it would have been a row here.
So that's why there was no official request.
Yes, because that would be putting too much. That would be asking Ghana too much. Because the Abu Trika one is pending. Abu Trika is not going anytime soon. That is the verdict of the Ghanaian people. That until the U.S. government returns Ofori-Atta to Ghana, Abu Trika and the co-conspirators, etc., they are not leaving. Yes. You see, my colleague agrees. We all agree.
No, please. We all don't agree.
No, okay.
No.
I'm talking about Amanda Clay.
No, please.
Yeah, so let me leave
We are all on the panel. Don't say we all agree.
So
say Martin Pebu's position.
No, so
and you even said Ghanaians. I don't think Ghanaians. I don't think you should say all Ghanaians. Say since Martin Pebu. No. You've not done any polls on that. We've not had Musa Dankwa do anything. Please, if you want to pay Musa Dankwa, we'll do it for you. But please, on this panel, say Martin Pebu's position. Don't include us.
No, you can't say that. When it's your turn, you can't
include us. You made a statement. Don't include us.
No, but you've made your point. And I'm saying, what did I say? I say you go to social media. So I showed you my source. I said go to social media, and you find the chorus now is that we've become savvy.
Some Ghanaians.
It's obvious. And when I say social media, it's obvious that I think Kujopuku, you are becoming disruptive. It's obvious. No, you are getting disruptive. It's obvious. It's no brainer. If you say social media, who is telling you that that's all of the media? Come on.
All right, let's
No, I think you are becoming disruptive.
Now, so the issue has established that you are. I'm not trying to get the link between the Ofori-Atta case and then how things are playing out now.
Yeah.
But then again, there's an established treaty which is active, working, and has been employed in a number of instances.
Yeah.
I mean, does it give room for such exceptions?
Oh, look, I told you, extradition is politics. That's what it is. And in politics, the number one thing they will tell you is that it's always about the nation's interests. So as for the document, don't put too much premium on it. Remember, this is an old document. Even when you read it, you read the extradition treaty, some of the words and how we are interpreting it today is something for another day. So simply, yes, you can have an agreement that somebody can drive a coach and a nail through it. So it's not too much about the document. It's all about the political might, right? Yes, that's why it is. When it comes to diplomatic relations, etc., it's about your bargaining power. Yes, there's a document, but this document, when you read the Vienna Convention, they've made 1,001 exceptions. Though there's an agreement, the exceptions are always developing because it's about geopolitics. It's the relations. And beneath the relations is the political might. You see, Donald Trump had to get up to go to China. He needs help on the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
A few years ago, who would have thought that Trump would be on his knees with the Chinese? And you heard Xi Jinping making it very clear that the U.S. and China are equal. They are equal. None is subservient to the other, etc. So this whole thing is about the bargaining power. It's about the power. It's about power. It's not too much about the white and black letter of the law.
So that's why the U.S. would have rather waited for him to get out of the jurisdiction?
Absolutely.
To have him detained.
Yes, absolutely, because I can't imagine that we would have given out Ohene Frimpong willingly when Ofori-Atta has not been brought here. No, those days are gone. Now we've all become wise, and we say locally that kwasienitia na agroegu. So we have also become wise. So now that we become wise, that means that the dynamics are changing. So if the dynamics are changing, what do they have to do? They'll just wait for the person they are looking for to cross our shores, and then if that other country is a country that they can collaborate with to arrest, they arrest. Beyond that, when later all the facts become clear, the other fact that we'll be looking at is what was Ohene Frimpong doing, the MP, at that time in the Netherlands? Because you see, when you hold a diplomatic passport, most probably a service passport, it doesn't mean that for all your businesses you are covered. No. If you're on a private trip, it's not covered. If you're on a private trip, it's not covered. So it's not as if you have a diplomatic passport, then any and everything. Yeah. Like we've already said, there have been many exceptions. In the US, there are 1,001. We can't even count here, where diplomats have been arrested, diplomats have been prosecuted, human rights violations, very serious offenses, etc. Yeah, and what they are talking about is quite serious enough. Yeah, to be in that category that, look, if it's a very serious offense... That is what he's been alleged to have done. Exactly.
So the diplomatic immunities that can't kick in this instance.
Yeah, yes, it's not everything that your diplomatic immunity covers, and the Vienna Convention will recognize that, because there have been many cases in the U.S., right? Even in Ghana, we referred cases. So it's not everything. Maybe when there's time, we can look into the provisions of the convention.
No, it's important as well. I mean, and then that leads me to this one: whether there's actually a real issue there or a real question to be asked regarding Article 117. Is there a question as to whether the immunities extended to a member of parliament in Ghana while on his way to or involved in the business of discharging his work as his or her work as a member of parliament, does it extend outside of the jurisdictions of Ghana, specifically 117?
No, not in this case. No. Not in this case. Our laws are for us and to be obeyed by the Ghanaian people and the government. So to the extent that Ohene Frimpong was outside in the Netherlands, it's not 117 we'll be using, but rather we'll be looking at the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961. And that's why I've said that there have been cases where they've made exceptions, arrested diplomats in the US, prosecuted them, etc., sent people, even the bags. Ordinarily, the diplomatic bag, they don't search it, etc. But if there is suspicion that you're carrying cocaine and other contraband, they search it. The most popular search is the Diko affair. The Diko affair, when they searched the Nigerian former minister, where the Israelis and so the Nigerian government collaborated in the 70s and early 80s to have him. They put him in a diplomatic bag. They put him in the container, blah, blah. So ordinarily, though they don't search it, but when there was suspicion that, no, there could be a crime, the UK authorities searched it. They opened, and there you have it. Diko was inside the diplomatic bag. And so people were prosecuted, right? Yes, so the law is not meant to favor or promote somebody's crimes. No, when you read the Vienna Convention of Diplomatic Relations, even in the preamble, they tell you that it is not for individual benefit. It is to promote the functioning of the state, right? So even from the preamble, you just see straight away that this is not an aid. It is not for promotion of crime. It is not at all. So the moment they see that you're using the diplomatic privileges, etc., to further crime, no, they'll stop you. They'll stop you. Listen to this. The preamble says, one of them, realizing that the purpose of such privileges and immunities is not to benefit individuals, but to ensure the efficient performance of the functions of diplomatic missions as representing states. So the whole arena of diplomacy, etc., is not for crime. Of course, we also, naturally, every system is not foolproof. True. Yes, people are able to use it to aid certain things. But as a state, yes, sometimes the state itself commits certain crimes in order to make sure that the state moves on well, right? Yeah, it's normal. But when you get caught, like they say, the thief is the one who is being caught. So on paper, it's not meant to aid that. The moment there is the suspicion of a big crime, serious enough, they'll open, like I said, they opened the diplomatic box and found Diko, the former minister, is it transport or something? You can Google it, you see. It was found in there, and many other ones. In the US, as I've said, there have been prosecutions, right?
Perfect. Yeah. Council, thank you for this. And yes, Ms. Clinton, you wanted to make a point? Quickly?
Yes, I mean, I think the Netherlands is one of the better places for him to have been apprehended in terms of the UK and the Netherlands. He may be able to fight extradition more in terms of they consider procedural and human rights objections. And I would say the Netherlands does so more than the UK. And the UK has prevented the extradition of Pinochet and Assange, you know, very much on, you know, strong legal arguments. And so if he gets good lawyers to make strong legal arguments in the Netherlands, he could well beat this, but certainly not on immunity alone, because he doesn't enjoy full immunity, given the fact that he isn't a consulate employee, etc. So the Netherlands is basically going to look at things like treaty compliance, dual criminality, fair trial rights, prison conditions, proportionality, as well as if there's any political motivations involved, which in this case there isn't. And his lawyers will throw everything, I think, into his defense. Ordinarily, I mean, although some people have mooted that it could take a month, I think he should try and push it for longer, in case they go into deeper arguments. But from the little I've heard, I think Ghana is going to fight the extradition. But in fighting it, Article 117 is unlikely to protect him outside the jurisdiction. And with the Vienna Convention, he doesn't get full immunity anyway, just because he wasn't a consulate employee, etc. So the best thing he can do is to fight it on procedural and human rights objections, basically.
I see. And Nelson Roxon Daviambo is the majority chief whip in this ninth parliament. He's a member of parliament for the South Dyke constituency. Good morning to you, Honorable. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, morning to my co-panelists.
Perfect.
Good morning to your viewers.
Great. Now, Prof, I want you to hold on a bit for me so we get some information regarding what has happened. Then I'll come to you. Please. When this matter became public, about 5 days ago, almost, one of the issues that came up was when he left Ghana, when he was arrested, and what more we do know. What have you been informed? Because he's doing business with you in Parliament.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. I've spoken a lot on this matter. This happened on Sunday. So he left here exactly a week today on KLM. And normally KLM takes off at night around 9, 10. But I think they left here around 10. KLMBA, they normally leave around 10. So and he was on his way to London. He has a family in London. He has children in London. So he frequents London. As his script, I know that. So naturally, when you're on KLM, you transit through Schiphol. So they got to Schiphol, and there was a scene.
There was a scene?
Yeah. So they interrogated him for some minutes and then intercepted him, sort of detained him. So his call, normally all my call, they call me at any time because the call was coming around 5:30, I should say, but I didn't see.
5:30 a.m.
a.m. But I didn't see. That's when you
on the Sunday.
You get to Schiphol around 5. So when you are going through the motions,
By 6,
so
6:30.
by 5:30, the call was coming. And I didn't pick. I was in the village. We had a difficult, a tedious Saturday then. So, but he was in the company of another colleague MP. So he also started calling. But then, so in a matter of minutes, I've had like 15 calls in between the two. So eventually I picked his.
That is the colleague MP?
Yes, that's Ohene. And he
That's
said,
Ohene?
yes, and he said, boss, creep, I'm being arrested. And he likes to speak tree with me. He's the one who spoke tree in Parliament. But he's been on an agenda that he wants to speak tree in Parliament. So he likes to. And then he started, and I said, okay. Then he handed me over to the other colleague, because he had the privilege to speak, because he was being prevented even from talking for long on the phone. So we went into the issue, and the people were boisterous, they were, gang-ho. They were not even they nearly manhandled him because he was trying to ask for some clarifications. Okay, where is the warrant? If you are saying that there's a warrant issue for his arrest and extradition to the US, let's see the warrant. Let's see the basis. International laws, they were not bothered. All they were bothered about was to handcuff him and whisk him away. So I told him that he should slow down, otherwise they could handle him. And so we talked. And so the long and short is that he was taken away and placed in cells. So he canceled his flight and stayed with him around the airport.
As the colleague MP?
Yes. Then, me too, when it happens like this, I have principles. So I began the course. My leader, Mama Yariga, the foreign minister, his deputy, the ambassador to Hague, my attorney general, frantic calls, the clerk, speaker. So eventually I got my leader. And luckily, yes, the Honorable Mama Yariga. And luckily, he was also on his way home to Ghana. So he was at Heathrow. He was transiting through London.
Right.
So we agreed that he has to cancel the coming home and flew to Schiphol.
I see.
So he flew to Schiphol to go meet with Ohene 2 to 3 hours. And so he actually was the first person who went to meet him, and they spoke. And it's a very difficult situation. So quickly on calls, got the coordination. So the ambassador, first we got the chief of protocol at a mission in The Hague, who got the Ambassador Edson. He came in. So we agreed that we need to get him a lawyer. So we got a Ghanaian based in The Hague. He's a legal practitioner, but he practices in The Hague. So we got him involved. So he's the one who's been handling the matter thus far. The prosecutors have asked for some information from us. We provided those. But as we speak, they still haven't told us the reasons.
There's no communication on the reason for the detention?
They are still coy about the basis. But what we've got to know, that was 3 days ago. So all this happened, I had to leave for Abidjan for parliamentary duties. I just got back yesterday night. So I got to know yesterday, they called me in Abidjan when I was about returning home. The lawyers, the lawyer and his team. So now we can confirm that the warrant was issued on 26th of April.
26th April.
So it's a fresh warrant, actually. In terms of international, it's just a fresh warrant. So that's why initially I wasn't happy with Amanda, but this morning, hearing her, I'm happy the trajectory she's taking. Presidents have gone through this, like she said, and I mentioned it earlier in the week. A sitting sovereign on his way to attend an international conference, transiting through, I think, Gatwick or Heathrow. They stopped him, Pinochet. The matter traveled all the way to the House of Lords. Pinochet 1, Pinochet 2, Pinochet 3, if you read. Sitting sovereign, head of state, president. They arrested him. And she mentioned Juliana Sangi. I mentioned it within the week. So this is not a social media matter. It can happen to anybody. If indeed the warrant, the US issues the warrant and gives it to Interpol, they would execute it. So by the time you go through the motions of legalities, it could take a bit of time. So, but he's cooperating well with the authorities, the lawyers.
Was it an Interpol warrant or was it a direct request? That hasn't been confirmed.
I suspected that it was Interpol.
Okay.
I suspected. Because U.S. cannot ask, you know the law, they cannot ask Dutch authorities to intercept. They have to use Interpol. It has to be Interpol, because Interpol is everywhere.
And we didn't get the notice because Interpol sits in Ghana.
No, so when you mentioned
Interpol sits in
the
CID Ghana.
no, when you mentioned the 26th, when you mentioned the notice, I did my checks. Normally, it's the older ones that they eventually will get to you. So this one, I suspect that they will be notifying Ghana because of the date.
I see, but this was issued on the 26th of April.
26.
How long does it take? Today is what?
Instant.
Today is
Instant.
what?
It's on the database.
May 16th.
You see, well,
20 days and over.
It goes through some motions. Because, you know, we have Interpol in Ghana.
Yes.
We have Interpol in Ghana. So they have a website. So, well, I'll leave those. But I think that it goes through sets of motions before even the government may get to know. Because it takes, they don't leave it simply on the website. It takes formal communication. They'll communicate the notice.
But there's Interpol public in terms of, for instance, if I log on now, there's a red list that is made public. There's a red list and a yellow list. The red list is public for those, and those are arrest warrants. And there is also a red list for internal purposes, meaning every single Interpol should get that request. So, and it's instant, it's their database. You see what I mean? So it would be interesting to see whether it was an Interpol request and whether Ghana got the notification, or it was a relationship that they have with the Netherlands, and so they just asked them directly. You know, which is it's an option for them to do as well.
Good. Okay, good. That's but for me, as a government, from all the communications I've had, I don't think government got the notification at all, because my Attorney General himself has been called upon to do some opinion because of his traveling on a DP or his diplomatic passport. And let the point also be made that every MPs are part of the categories of public officers who use diplomatic passports.
Okay, so it's indeed confirmed he was on a diplomatic.
Yes, he was.
Specifically a service passport.
No, not a service passport. It's a diplomatic, the red one.
Okay.
And you see, the problem is that more often than not, when MPs are doing their private trips, they use the diplomatic. Especially because a lot of the countries, you don't require a visa. If you are using the regular, you may have to take visa on arrival and those things. But as part of our protocols and orientation, we advise that when you are doing your private trip, by all means, use your regular passport. And when you are doing official parliamentary trips, you use the diplomatic. But you know how these things are. So he was on his diplomatic passport, but it was a private trip.
So I think
I mentioned it.
So that way you don't get my
made that point earlier.
No,
So
I've mentioned it. I disclosed all this earlier in the week.
Private trips.
The day we release, because between Sunday, we managed the crisis until about Tuesday when it's gotten to a stage where we need to inform the public. So when we inform the public and barrage of media, yes. So I clarified that no.
I see.
In fact, some even suggested that he was on his way to America. I said no, he wasn't traveling to America.
I see. So he was on a diplomatic passport, but on a personal trip.
Yes, he was going to.
So those diplomatic courtesies will not extend, or immunities will not extend to him in this instance. I think you just have to clarify
there are
that.
legalities. I may be on a private trip, but the fact is that the person, the status at the time of arrest is that he's traveling on a diplomatic passport. So there are consequences, there are immunities, there are privileges to be triggered. So that's why the AG, some opinion is being asked of the AG as to whether that is feasible to trigger or not. He will look at the legalities and offer an opinion. He's doing that. It will guide all of us. So, by all means, if I'm his lawyer, I'll look for any means legally possible to fight my case. So I'll rely on everything that can help me remedy the situation.
I see.
So that legal opinion, it's in the offering.
I see. One of the issues that one of his lawyers, I think there's one Elvis Idu Ameyao, who has been introduced as a member of his legal team because the Honorable Ralph Pokwe-Dusey.
Who introduced him?
So the Honorable Ralph Pokwe-Dusey has been, there's communication that that's OK Frimpong's lawyer in Ghana. Are you aware of this?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of any information or communication as well that he was on his way to visit his constituents in the UK? So he was still doing parliamentary?
Yes, I later on got that. So they've done a letter. They've done a letter to the prosecutor. A prosecutor has been appointed. You know, there must be a prima facie determination whether or not he must be extradited. Look, extradition is one of the most difficult cases for lawyers. I did one in 2012, I believe, for Blake Guje, the Ivorian former opposition leader.
Yeah.
He was resident here. Apparently, there was a request by Ivory Coast for Ghana to
extradite him,
to bring him back, or to allow them to come and pick him. We didn't know. And so when they went to Accra and everyone, we went through the motions, but eventually he was taken away. You know, you go through we filed the processes, there are interlocutory hearings, because your duty was to safeguard his.
I see.
Is being taken away. Yeah, eventually, we filed something at the Court of Appeal, but before the date,
they took him away.
You
were on answering that question about a lawyer, someone who speaks for him, saying he was on his way to the UK to visit his constituents.
Yeah, so
we
got the Agogo citizens to do a letter confirming that they had arranged for him to visit them, to engage on some project. He's doing quite a bit in his constituency as a fresh MP. He's very resourceful. So that angle has been satisfied. So the prosecutors asked for that information. We've provided that.
But you earlier stated that you know he has family in the UK.
Yes, he has children in the UK.
So he visits every now and then.
Yes.
So how are you going to be able to distinguish?
He was in the UK last year.
How are you going to distinguish, the purpose of this visit? Whether he was to go to visit his
Okansi,
children or to go.
That is why I am urging calm. People who are making all manner of comments, street talk. We are all human beings. My brother here, when he travels, you can use it's private travel, but you can use it to deal with a couple of things. It may be private arrangement. Look, you don't buy a plane ticket, thousands of dollars, and go and do one transaction and come back. You must have arranged things. So, if I want to visit my children and my constituents who are ordinary residents in the UK wants to meet, we will arrange in such a way that it will coincide with my visiting my family, so that I can use that same travel to meet you, to do other social engagement.
But how important is that in the scheme of things? That if he was going to visit his constituents, how does it change anything in his favor?
So you see, as an elected representative of the people, you see, the Dutch were looking for some. You see, in law we call it good reasons for traveling. Good reasons. You need to have good reasons. You are not on the frolic of your own. It's an elected representative of people. And as MPs, our constituents demand of us to engage them, to share ideas. If there are projects, they want to be updated and all those things. Laws that you are enacting in Parliament, you are our MP, come and brief us. We do that, especially here. And when I get the opportunity to travel, if I tell you that I was in Ivory Coast from Tuesday to yesterday, I met Ghanaians, even though I went there for official duties. Ghanaians organized themselves for me to come engage them, speak to them, and they have concerns there, and I've colleague leaders in the National Assembly in Ivory Coast. They have concerns. They've communicated that to me. Yesterday, I went to meet some of the leaders in the National Assembly and communicated the concerns that the Ghanaians have to them. So as it were dealt with. So MPs, this is what we do. And I brought our code of conduct as part of the discussions.
Right.
So no MP will go out of his way to, to scandalize the government, the parliament, and all that.
So a quick question from Dr. Kwame Asante. It says, good morning. If the arrest warrant was issued on the 26th of April, does the arrest warrant normally have the details of the reason for his arrest? Because you have to be told why you are being arrested, is it not?
Exactly. We've been asking this. In fact, that morning I spoke to the arresting officers. And they say, no, they are under no obligation to reveal the reasons to me. Well, I can understand at that time, they didn't know who they were talking to. But to date, even the prosecutor hasn't revealed the reasons why.
Yeah. As for him, they will reveal to him.
That is arrest 101.
And as for himself, they will
He's
reveal.
not been told.
No, it cannot happen.
Oh.
No. Yes.
A copy.
Exactly.
Has he not?
No, you can't take it.
Just a court appearance.
No.
You're not had a court appearance.
Please,
The first court appearance.
Please, everybody should relax. Look, the Europeans, they haven't. Even the arrest warrant, they were only shown. We have not been given a copy.
Hey.
The lawyer, he's just been shown. He wasn't given a copy. So there are regular things, but when they want to mess you up, they do things like this. So, but the fact is that
they will call in the Dutch ambassador.
So
he has to be hauled in.
So the fact is that we've been shown the arrest warrant, and the arrest warrant doesn't contain the basis for the arrest. It does not.
The reason for his arrest is not in the arrest warrant.
No, it does not. It's just the date and the issuing authority.
You have seen the arrest warrant?
The lawyers explained it to me. In fact, I told him whether it's possible to get a copy. He's been shown a copy.
But let me say this. When you're being arrested, it's your Miranda rights that is read to you.
Yes.
Nobody tells you why. It's Miranda rights. That's read to you. I mean, if you've been arrested, you can ask, but your Miranda rights, they can really. Martin, we've all been arrested before. In Ghana, we've all been arrested before. My brother, what I'm saying, Martin, what is written and what is done?
It's in the International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights.
Miranda rights is read to you.
You have a right to attorney, blah, blah, blah,
yes,
blah,
your
blah,
Miranda rights is read to you.
I think I agree with him. The second stage is the basis.
Exactly. And at the point of arrest,
arrest officers, stop that they tell you when we get to the station.
Exactly.
But you see,
at the point of arrest, Evans, let's educate.
No,
that is why some people.
It's not education. No,
that is why some people get into unnecessary fights with police.
No, that's not education. You can say your experience, but it's not education.
But let's say this. What pertains?
Stop. It's not education. No, don't let me go on that side. That's not it. Say my experience is different from law.
The Miranda rights ritual is that you are first they confirm your identity.
Yes.
You are so and so. Say yes. You are under arrest for mega for that. But very often they don't.
No, but the point is that they
very often they will say that you are under arrest. Very often they will eliminate that. Then they will say you are under arrest. You have blah blah blah. They don't insert the reason.
But the fact that they don't doesn't mean that it is lawful.
Well, that's fine. Let's move on, Alfred. The point is, Alfred, listen, he's going to go to court. You see, the U.S. system, and let me come in here. The U.S. system, right, which is the indictment system, helps them to be very successful in extradition. And if we all know how the U.S. operates, they go to a grand jury and present all the case they have against the person in front of a grand jury. The grand jury now returns an indictment. When you are indicted, that indictment is sealed. So you have a sealed indictment. You'll be surprised that when you are arrested is when the indictment is unsealed. So even the people being arrested don't know what you've been indicted for. That's the U.S. system. So it is when you go to court, your first court appearance is when they will have unsealed the indictment and read your charges to you in court. That's how the U.S. operates. And everybody who's been through this process will tell you, when there is a sealed indictment, the people arresting you don't even know what the indictment is for. It's sealed. There's a reason they do that, because they do not want a leak of what you, even in the US.
Okay.
When you are a US citizen
and there is a grand jury indictment, 8 out of nobody, I won't even say out of 10, nobody outside the case officers who went, or the AG who went on the grand jury, knows what they've gotten the indictment against. When you are arrested, we've all seen movies of people being arrested, and we've all seen this. And some of these are very graphical. Let me land.
You'll land on the point.
Then you are now your first court appearance. Then your lawyers will be given a copy of your charges.
I see. Now, Ms. Clinton, I'm coming to you because of your experience having handled some cases in the United States. I mean, I just want to
United Kingdom.
The UK, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Having referenced what happens in the US, that you're not told upfront why you are being arrested. Is that consistent? I mean, with practice?
Well, I mean, I think what's going to happen is at the extradition hearing itself, obviously evidence would have to be provided. Mm-hmm. And for instance, if this was the UK, I think they have a US extradition treaty of 2003, and the threshold is quite low in terms of the evidential threshold is low. If it's satisfied, then the person is extradited.
Right.
But in the Netherlands, the threshold is slightly higher, meaning that, they would have to satisfy why he should be extradited even more than the UK standard, mm-hmm. where the threshold is low. So they'll be looking at things like the treaty compliance, dual criminality, fair trial rights, proportionality, and ultimately they'll be looking at the procedure and human rights objections. So if, for instance, Ghana mounts an incredible defense that procedurally a lot more could have been observed and it wasn't, and they justify that with case law and with his particular circumstances, as well as, they mount human rights objections, the Netherlands is a place to make those arguments. So although he has very good lawyers, extending that team even more, I think is important, because the more of a defense you have, mm-hmm. the more you can fight it, basically. But even as a sitting member of parliament, yes, he didn't have full immunity, etc. Mm-hmm. However, there are certain courtesies one would have perhaps expected to have been extended to the Ghanaian government. And so maybe the Ghanaian government will take issue to that courtesy not being extended to them. So maybe they'll be bringing out some fine points about, could we have been afforded that courtesy? And if not, then you risk this particular
situation.
Extradition.
I see. But then I think that, yes.
Look, let's correct this so that we don't mislead the public. Yes. Please, I'm telling you on authority that in the US, when they arrest you generally, you are shown a copy of the arrest warrant. You will know the reason they arrest. It's never the law that you are taken to custody and then long after when you appear in court. It's a lie. When you are arrested, then there are international conventions. So like what we are, yes, like what if Ghana, we who have less than Fourth Republic, less than 36 years, we have this in our constitution. How much about the US over 200 years? Look, our 14.2 says, a person who is arrested, restricted or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest.
It's 14.2.
Yeah, Article 14.2. That's it. And it didn't come from here. If you read the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, you find it there.
So not even just for the reason for his arrest, but the detention and restriction.
Yes.
So these three levels.
Criminal,
these three levels.
Yes. So even if it's not criminal, maybe COVID, so they want to restrict you so that you don't spread COVID, etc., or state of emergency, you have to be told. And this is it. We who are just how many years, we have this. You know how old the US
read the full complement of 14.2, and
it says
it satisfies
a person who is arrested, mm-hmm. restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest, restriction, or detention, and of his right to a lawyer of his choice. So that's what they say Miranda rights. But so as part of the Miranda rights, you'll be told why. No civilized nation today would pick you up and not tell you the reason. And the US, the ones that they use the arrest warrant, they'll show you. So just at the point of arresting you, they'll show you a copy so you can even read immediately. And some even give copies. So please, let's not make any mistake.
And I think lawyer Elvis also is quoted as saying, this is a US-Illinois war arrest thing, and he did not want to go into charges levied against him. So that means he
So it came from the Northern District of Illinois.
Yeah.
Is this what you know? You don't know this?
Who said this?
Ghana Web published this yesterday, quoting
that's one lawyer,
Elvis.
Elvis
Elvis who?
Amayao. As far as you know, this is a U.S. issued arrest warrant.
Yes,
but
I'm aware.
you cannot confirm that it's from the Northern District of Illinois.
Look.
It's okay. In matters like this.
Thank you.
Let me say that the lawyer that we got for him is called Joe Appiah, a Ghanaian based in The Hague, and he's the one. I've been the center of this storm since Sunday dawn. He's not appointed any lawyer in Ghana.
No, he's in the UK.
The Elvis is in the UK.
Yes.
UK rather.
Yes, UK-based lawyer.
But it is the member of parliament for Bekwai, Ralph Poku-Eduse, who's been described as his Frimpong's lawyer in Ghana.
He may be his lawyer for some matters, but in this matter, yesterday I spoke to Ohene Frimpong.
Oh, may I quote the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Fourth Amendment. A U.S. warrant must state the specific reason for the arrest. Under the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, a valid arrest warrant must be issued by a neutral judge or magistrate based on probable cause. To meet this standard, the warrant document must explicitly name or describe the person to be arrested and detail the specific criminal offense or offenses they are charged with. And this is a Fourth Amendment right. When executing the warrant, law enforcement officers are required to inform the individual they are arresting of the charges against them, and upon request, show the warrant or provide a copy of it. So without that, means the warrant wouldn't stand. So in his case, I hope it doesn't state.
Yes, so
if it doesn't state, it violates the Fourth Amendment right.
Let me come here one second.
You see what you read? They only showed it. They only showed it to the lawyer. He hasn't got a copy. No. And he's not been told why.
Well, even better for him in court. Well, that's even better for him in court.
But even let's say something else. But let's correct something. You see, when you talk about the warrant and the reason, please, the reason for the arrest is different from the charge sheet too. So at the point, as for charge sheet, nobody gives it to you at the point of arrest. But as for why you are arrested, it's a must. That is a narcotic offense or defrauding by false pretense or this. So you are told it's the charge sheet that you get later. But to pick up somebody and not tell him that I'm picking you up because of X, Y, it's not possible.
I see.
No.
But Nelson Rossendale, you say that as far as you do know, his lawyer that you got him, Joe Appiah, representing him there, was not told or has not been told till date.
He's not been told. Even as of yesterday, even Ohene himself.
You spoke to Ohene Frimpong himself?
Yes. So, often. We speak like, yesterday we spoke. When I was in Abidjan, we spoke for like 30 minutes. On phone.
But Alfred, are we looking for the charges? Because Martin brought explanation. Are we looking for the charges or are we looking for...
Please.
So
when you
if we are told the reasons, by all means, it will be public knowledge.
When you spoke to him
so
yesterday.
The fact, look, we have not been told why he's been arrested.
Then we have to call in the Dutch ambassador.
He's only been told that we are arresting you. We are restraining you because there's a warrant for your arrest and extradition.
Then he'll win the extradition. Then he'll win the extradition hearing if
I don't think
there is no
I don't think it's as straightforward.
So I have told you, I have described even the circumstances, how they even nearly molested a colleague, maltreated him. It's molestation.
I said, when you spoke to
if you show people...
Dr. Dampo has been magnanimous. When you spoke to Frimpong yesterday, how was he doing? That 30 minutes conversation.
He's disturbed, but he's fine. Especially the social media talks. You know, some of the things being thrown out and bandied about. It's a human being. He's heavily distraught, but he's fine. It's fighting it. You know.
Still in detention?
Yeah, he's still in custody. But his lawyer has access to him, so he goes there every day.
But this thing will take longer. They might go for bail hearing. They might go for bail hearing, and all those things will come up. Maybe they'll give him bail.
Look, I have made the point that everybody should be calm. This matter, it has happened to sitting sovereigns.
Okay. Let me come to Prof. Jampo on this. I've
a global
had you all
business
make
leader,
your point so that he can have enough base grounds.
Yes.
I'll come to you and then we'll round it up. Prof.
Thank you. So when I was coming in here, I had to exhume my notes on international politics and international relations to guide.
You should be doing weekend teachings.
I've been teaching. So I think the point has been made clearly that parliamentary immunity and privileges are strictly domestic in nature. They only protect an MP from arrest within their home countries. And so, while carrying primarily their official legislative duties, they are immune. But whilst abroad, an MP is generally treated as ordinary citizen. Members of parliament are not automatically recognized as diplomats under international law unless they can, or unless they are on officially recognized state mission with state-level diplomatic protections. Foreign authorities would not.
Let me add this quickly.
Would not
Let me add this
recognize
quickly.
parliamentary.
Let me add this quickly. As Kipo, several times. Once I wasn't being met by the mission in The Hague. When you are going through immigration, you see all of your other passports.
Yes, other passports, yeah.
So, and I've heard also being said that so historically, several members of parliament and several top officials of state have been arrested, prosecuted, and jailed abroad for non-parliamentary or transnational offenses, demonstrating that their legislative status does not shield them from foreign justice. But my worry and my concern listening to the discussions from my colleagues here is about the fact that it's about what Honorable Dafiama Paul tells us, that the man doesn't know why he's being detained. And so it is fueling a lot of speculation against the man. And I hear a contest between norms or laws and reality in the arguments that are being canvassed here. So I'm being told here, or I'm hearing here, that the law says that his rights should be made known to him. But I'm always asking myself, how about the reality? Is it always the case? And so you have a lawyer here who has been in the trenches with the man who has been detained.
Okay, from Paul.
And he's saying that even the man himself has not been told. I think that, for me, projects the reality that we must contend with. And we should be asking ourselves, is that right? Is it always the case that the apostles of democracy and the projectors of human rights, is it always the case that they respect human rights? Is it always the case that the kinds of things that they throw to us as conditionalities, is it always the case that they respect those rules and conditionalities? It should be a shame for democracy and our quest to protect human rights if it is really the case that, as of now, the man himself who has been detained is not privy to the offense or the crime that he's supposed to have committed. Look, some of these lawlessness go on so much. I mean, we've all traveled before. Let me give you an experience. Maybe I'm not, for some reason, let me shield the country, or let me not mention the country's name. But at the airport, we had gotten down from the plane, and then at the immigration, we were in a queue. And a particular gentleman, when he got to the immigration officer, it took over an hour, and we were still in the queue. Talking over an hour. So when it got to my turn, I asked the immigration officer, I told him, but how come you kept all of us waiting here? And maybe this is my mouth. I said, even in my country, developing country, Ghana, we don't do things like this. The lady looked at my face and said, wait for me here. I said, just wait for me here. And so I was standing there, and some police officers who came, picked me to a room, and I was sitting down there. I could see my bag on the carousel. Everybody had taken his or a bag, and my bag was just going round. I'm sure the bag was feeling dizzy. And I was asking them,
Eventually
what have I done?
Take it off and put it down.
What have I done?
They mentioned the country.
They were not telling me anything.
No, mention. If we don't name and shame, people will not stop.
They were not telling you, Martin, let me finish. They were not telling me anything. What have I done? Now I want to pick my phone and call my brother who was picking me from airport. They said, don't talk on the phone.
Yeah, they won't allow you.
I was just sitting down. What have I done? They were not telling me anything. And you want to talk? They said, keep quiet. What sort of lawlessness is this? What sort of inhuman... And so please, let us not sit here and tickle ourselves and be laughing and be quoting people's amendments, rights, and people's legislations and rules and saying, because it is there, it means they respect those rules. There is always a difference between what ought to be and what is.
Yeah.
So we should say this. No, we should all bow our heads as humanity in shame that a high-profile personality like an MP, we are not condoning what is wrong, but at least we should all be made to know what has happened. The person himself who has been arrested must be made to know. But to the extent that we are being told that he himself doesn't know, and then we are here saying that no, by all means he's been told and all. I mean, we are not being fair to ourselves because it happened to so many people. Where you go, I mean, some of these countries that project themselves as democratic countries, go there and see how sometimes they treat people in that inhuman manner. Police effect arrest here, but I've been to some of these so-called democratic countries, some of these so-called countries that believe in human rights, and a simple arrest. Didn't we see instances where a police was arresting somebody and he placed the leg on the neck of the person and killed the person? Please. So there is always a difference.
Black Lives Matter.
Okay,
right?
no Miranda. There's always a difference between what ought to be and what is. And I'm saying again that we are not here to condone what is wrong, but we are here to say that if something is wrong, and for that reason, a member of parliament that we all agree is not immune from arrest, especially when he's out of our jurisdiction and carrying a personal, trip. If you all agree that he's not immune from arrest and for some reason he's been arrested, I think it is important that we are all saved from speculations. And one thing that I also want to say is that generally, even though I'm told that people are saying things on social media, I think generally people have been magnanimous in looking at the arrest itself, and they are not so much talking about allegations of what the person may have done. We live in a country where allegations are always made reality or allegations are always taken to be the gospel truth because it serves people's propagandistic partisan interest. And so depending on which side of the political divide you belong to, people are excited about unproven allegations, and they will continue to tout and project it and talk about it in a manner that creates in the psyche of some listeners that, oh, it is even true. Not it may be true, it is even true. But I'm happy that at least in this particular discourse, I think around the table and among the generality of the good people of Ghana, we are looking at our own who has been caught up there, and everybody is thinking about how best dispassionately about how best we can get the authorities to intervene in a situation. And you see, this is good for us. Beyond football and beyond religion, we should find ways and means of getting ourselves united as a people. Without unity as a people, we cannot talk about meaningful development. And so for me, I'm excited that at least we are all looking at what has happened, and we are not so much allegations and thinking about rumors. So when I sat here, I was asking Amanda, I was asking Kojura, what possibly could be the reason? And they don't know, but they are also not suggesting things or throwing things in the public domain in a manner that would incriminate the guy and without any factual, evidence. But I want to end again on this note that the international community should be ashamed, and we all as humanity, we should bow down our heads in shame that we would have a high profile, not even necessarily high profile, but human being arrested and detained in someone else's country, and the person up to date, we are being told, doesn't even know the reason why he has been attained. I'm saying economic might and the level of a country's development cannot be used as a basis to bully people coming from other countries. Economic might and the level of development of countries must not be allowed to be used as a basis to bully other people from coming from other, other people, people coming from other people's, countries. I think it's not right. The bottom line is we are all human beings. Whether you are in the US or you are in the UK or you are in the Hague, we are human beings. And so, the dignity of
let's give something before we land. I understand he granted an interview to Black Rasta.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I was just going to say, and the interview says...
Okay, Frimpong?
Yeah.
Okay, Frimpong.
Yeah. Can we call him Black Rasta? Yeah, that he granted an interview and said why.
He shares an audio. Allegedly, Black Rasta shared an audio yesterday that has been cited by Ghana Web. And the audio states that he specifically says, when I was picked up, the only thing they told me was that I was being arrested for money laundering, nothing else. I have heard a lot of reports that I was involved in the 32 million money laundering scheme, but I won't say anything. And so he also apparently in the audio denies anything in relation to a romance scam fraud. He says that is false. And so Black Rasta played this yesterday, and Ghana Web cited it.
So I'm confused. The one who's arrested sent an audio to Black Rasta?
Yes.
So is that what you're saying?
Yes. From that,
who
probably may not be.
Yeah, that's why I said we should call Black Rasta.
He spoke to him, so he still has access to his phone, correct?
Yeah.
Honorable.
No, I speak to him on the lawyer's phone because he's in custody.
You wouldn't have a phone?
No, he hasn't got a phone. So it's when the lawyer visits him that we talk.
Then there's a disconnect.
There's a definite disconnect. This Black Rasta thing.
So my point is that I want to place much premium on what the Makpo is saying, and because of what I saw myself, and because of what other people have also experienced, I want to end on the note that economic might and the level of development of a country does not give license for those countries to mistreat and to undermine and to disrespect human dignity. So in my case, like I told you, I was just made to sit down.
Show you.
Just sit down.
I'm just sending a message to the lawyer to confirm this. You see, the lawyer, he was supposed to have arrived today, but he cancelled it to go through some. They have some some engagement with the prosecutor this morning.
Lawyer is coming to Ghana?
He wanted to come. Apia wanted to come, but he's cancelled the flight because of the engagement with the prosecutors this afternoon.
But let's put little bite on.
Let me finish. So I sat down. They won't let me talk on my phone.
Yes, your story.
You're not telling me anything. And then for about
you should have called Amanda.
After 45 minutes, after 45 minutes, they said I should go.
Where power lies.
Then so I got there. My brother met me, and then I was narrating and said, who do immigration? Why I want Kasa? I said, Kasa said that. Well, I mean, why shouldn't I talk? Don't go and question them. I said, but are they not human beings?
You're not timorous.
Are they not human beings? I said, the next time I get there, I will talk. If they don't like, they should bring me back to my country.
That's true.
Who are they? Are they not human beings?
Prof, thank you. Now,
somebody who's an international lawyer sent me a message, and he says that the amendment that Amanda read out would only apply if you are in the United States. You see, what the lawyer is saying is that for the Dutch, they are acting on an instruction. So they are arresting you for. It's like the Interpol. Yes, they are arresting the Interpol who are arresting you for. So they will only tell you that we are arresting you for this.
Okay.
But like I'm saying, on his first day in court, do we know when he's due court? No. First day in court, then he will get to know a lot of
things. But the point is, no extradition hearing can succeed unless it meets the evidential threshold.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten there.
No.
We are not there yet.
He would need to be provided with that in advance in order for his lawyer to prepare.
Yes.
And if no evidential threshold is met, because there is no reason, then obviously he goes free because the Dutch will not allow an extradition without a reason.
What we are saying is that on the day of arrest, we are talking about when he was arrested at the airport. And that's what we are talking about. What has transpired later? So now we are being told that the lawyer is coming to Ghana. I'm sure when he comes...
No. He's even cancelled the flight.
Oh, okay.
Last
Can I just clarify that point? He made another point that is, if he was in the US, then his constitutional rights will be protected. No. That is afforded to every single person. And if it's not afforded to every single person, the second he steps foot in America, his lawyer could argue that that's thrown out because a right that is afforded to everyone was not afforded to him.
It's in the Universal Declaration.
Amanda, I like this point you're making.
Thank you. The reason for the arrest must be stated.
It stands, you check the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. It's there. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is there. So this is for the committee. Exactly? I mean, your right to be informed the reason for your arrest. Okay. So it's in the Committee of Nations. I would be shocked that you say the Dutch. I think we need to separate. That's why I said we should call in the Dutch ambassador. Our foreign minister should call in the Dutch ambassador.
We need to separate being told the charges and the reason.
Thank you.
I think those are
Can I make a point? Can I make a point?
Right.
You see,
please.
Like Prof said, and Amanda knows, as for international law, we all use it. We rattle it. But what they do, in fact, look, what they did to Pinochet, a sitting sovereign that has become a precedent in international law in these matters, it will shock you.
Okay.
No, hold on. So I am saying, from where I sit, I've been the center of this matter since Sunday now. We have not been. In fact, the warrant, he hasn't got a copy. They are now trying to even get a copy of the warrant. They've applied and written and all that. It was only shown on phone. Eventually, like, after 3 days. In fact, it was Tuesday that I confirmed to him that, no, it was Thursday. They confirmed to me that eventually they have been shown the warrant, and the date on the warrant was 26 April.
So,
from Tuesday when I began public engagement, we never knew when the warrant was issued.
So on Sunday he was picked up or detained, and his lawyer was shown the warrant on Thursday.
No, Thursday he informed me, so perhaps he must have been shown the warrant either earlier in that day or maybe the day before. Before he confirmed, so I asked, what is the date? Because Amanda's position quickly came to me. What is the date on the warrant? I said, 26 April. Fresh, 3 weeks old. 2 weeks old warrant. So that's where we are. But I'm pleading with everyone, including even my caucus members, because you see, this thing goes to caucus, welfare and all that. If you don't protect the caucus, they think that as leaders, you don't care when they are in trouble. So want to edge calm, everybody, the country, everybody should remain, and people who are, the social media people, they should stop it. When the official reasons are given, we shall all speak to it. But for now, even his mother is so much affected by the situation. He has family and all, and he has a constituency.
True.
So,
but
let's
while we round up on this,
yes.
there's a question as to say you are asking the Attorney General to give you some clarity on what diplomatic courtesies can be
normally you need
to
an opinion.
Well, I'll get to that, because then if we've established that, I mean, he was on a personal trip, that means that whatever diplomatic courtesies will not extend.
No. Law is not that simplistic.
So you have to get into.
Yes, you need an opinion.
I see.
You need, yes, I may not be on an official trip, but the document offers some privileges, some immunities, some rights. So it is that document. It is what the document offers that you accept.
Yeah, but the document doesn't prevent your arrest when there are serious matters.
That is not. Adama has been arrested. There's no resisting arrest. He's been arrested. He's in detention. We are talking about the consequences. Okay. And when you are looking for consequences and you want to go into legalities, you need the government's lawyer to give you an opinion because of who he is. Even if he's an ordinary citizen, the government still have the AG still have to provide an opinion because he's a citizen of this country who is traveling on an ordinary passport. The passport offers some. When you open your passport, there's a notice to the whole world. It tells you that the so and so is traveling on a Ghanaian passport, so the whole world is called upon to offer him blah 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 blah. Okay. You understand?
So while we're even talking about this, just about 2 days ago, the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Ohio also issued a release. And this is in the last 48 hours. It says Ghanaian nationals indicted for romance scams. This came in just within this same period that we're talking about. And this is it. They say 2 brothers from Ghana.
You see, Alfred, when you do this, I'm being into Alfred, please, Alfred,
I'm going to flip.
Alfred, no. You see, Alfred, I beg you. People are gullible.
You are not going to allow me.
People are gullible.
I'm going to establish a point.
Even without doing this, people are already throwing all sorts of linkages.
There was a point that Kojo made about the unsealing and when it is
of
done.
An indictment.
Yes, because this is captured in here. That's what I was going to. Not so much about,
Alfred, let me say, in conflict of law, we are told that our laws are different from other laws of other nations. Even though they may be operating for the same international objective, perhaps how they conduct this arrest is covered by some peculiar laws in Holland. We don't know. I don't know. So they will conduct these matters in accordance with Dutch law, even though it may be in consonance generally with international standards. But the particularization of activities may have to be in consonance with Dutch prosecutorial laws, which I'm not privy to. But generally, it may not be offensive to international standards. So, for now, he's in the hands of the Dutch government, and we are going through the motions. And that is why I think that we should leave it. If we get to know further details.
But is this the one for the twins?
Yes, this was for
the ones who were the twins who were arrested in the U.S.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this complements the point about the unsealing.
Yes. It's only when they were arrested in the U.S. that they unsealed the indictment.
So I just wanted to establish that.
Oh, okay.
The twins that went to they traveled.
I didn't even know that on Wednesday.
No, they traveled to the U.S. And when they were arrested,
so you understand?
Sorry, they actually willingly they saved them so much money on extradition.
I've been aware. I didn't know until somebody, a media person,
sold to the US, and upon their arrest, that was when the indictment
So,
was.
that's what I wanted to do.
Okay, great.
You just allowed me to go on to what I wanted to do, so you don't.
So they were
so
not.
this is this,
they
this
were
is the
shown the indictment
unsealing
upon
in-
arrest.
in-
They were arrested
This
and
was-
then
yes.
taken to detention.
Mr. Kasi,
Yes.
now let's show that Amanda made this point earlier, and as lawyers and Honorable Dafemi Kotu can confirm. But you see, this one, though it was unsealed in the US, when they want a Ghanaian extradited to the US, they bring the charges down. To Monday, I'm going to court, Abu Trika school conspirator. We have the charges. We have the charges.
Right.
So they will tell you.
Detailed
there's-
in there.
Yes, full
So the processes
extradition
are not
packet. So they give you a copy.
they are
No,
in different
he's making the same
sectors.
point. When was Abu Trika arrested? Some time ago. You are now getting the charges.
No, oh, they bring them along.
Okay, no, but the point I'm making is that there's nothing.
But have you seen
there's
the
nothing
video
like
of
that.
when Abu Trika was being arrested? He was asking why I'm being arrested, and the guy was not
See,
telling him.
the
Have you
point
seen the
I'm
video?
making is that in our case, there was nothing contemporaneous like that.
Yes.
Arrest has happened, detention has happened.
Yes. Then
days are running. So perhaps these talks, these complaints may compel them to now. You know how these things are. You know, Abu Trika is going through the motions here. You know, so it's come. I suspect that, of course, they will send it to the Dutch prosecutor. They have appointed, the Interpol is the one that appointed the prosecutor in the matter, a Dutch prosecutor. They did it that Sunday. As soon as they detained him, we were told that a prosecutor has been appointed. So it is the prosecutor we've been, the lawyers have been engaging. So I'm sure that further documents may be, and I also suspect, because even me, they've asked of me some information, which we have provided as Parliament.
Right.
We provided.
I see.
So I also suspect
the prosecutors asked.
Yeah, they've made some demands, and the lawyers we've provided. For instance, to confirm that indeed it's an MP and all, you know, they don't just take things for granted. They want formal accreditation. You know, that's why on Tuesday, Parliament has to formally confirm that this has happened. You understand? Between Sunday and Tuesday, we've exchanged some information to confirm that indeed he's a member of Parliament, indeed he has a constituency, indeed, all that. And I also suspect that they'll be making further requests of government itself. You know, I'm not sure, I'm not certain, but I'm saying that they will do all this background request before we as part of the going through the motion. So I'm only say let's be patient.
Perfect.
Let's be patient.
No, the conversation this morning hasn't veered outside of the
I agree.
the scope of what we have.
But it's all to guide the public because.
And you see, the other thing I want to point out is that the extradition case in Ghana, and the lawyers will guide me on that because I'm not a lawyer. What you fight in Ghana court is not the case. You fight whether there is, because the Americans will come and tell you this is what
there's a probable cause. There's a prima facie basis.
Exactly. That's why we need them to go.
Yeah.
And the country will now admit that yes, there is a case against you. You need to go and answer. You don't fight the cases in this country. No. You go and fight the cases in America.
In American
yes. So that's the most important thing. They do not. You get a defense, and I think what is bringing out Abu Trika, what I'm being told is that they are saying that the law that they are trying to charge him with, they don't think is a crime in Ghana. And I think his lawyers are trying to use some loophole to defend him. But what you fight is not...
It's not a loophole. It's a procedural impropriety. That's what we do. If we find one, we'll accept it. We'll use
it. As we are moving, from this particular issue, what is the conclusion? What is in our mind? Has the man been informed of his charges, of his crime, or not?
I don't think so.
Has he been informed? Okay, I don't want us to, like I said, live within the norm of what ought to be. As Martin is reading the laws, and has he been informed or not? Right. Has he been informed or not?
Prof, you are, for the umpteenth time today.
Well, people are asking me the same question.
Hold on. So they should pay attention. He has not been informed, or in other words, he's not been given the reasons for his detention. He's only been told that we are arresting you based on a warrant issued by the United States government, and further asking that we simply not arrest you, we should extradite you to them. Now, so it's a two-stage process. You are restrained and you will be taken away. So in the taking away, it goes into a lot of processes. So Interpol quickly appointed a prosecutor to manage that process. We have also, in response, hired a lawyer for him to be heard on the issues. So preliminary, there'll be a preliminary hearing, like Amanda hinted,
right,
to determine a prima facie whether or not there's a sufficient ground for him to be taken away. Now, she made a very, very good point. That in the UK, the standards, the threshold is lower. But in The Hague, it's higher. Because, of course, The Hague is home to all some of our key international courts. So I am happy that that threshold is higher. Then we are all going to listen to the argument. Because if, yes, there's a warrant for my arrest, but if you don't follow the procedure properly, if there are procedural impropriety, we will accept it. And of course, the court will hear. So we where we are, we don't, because to inform me, you must formally communicate to me. It's not a phone call matter. It's not a phone call matter. You must give me that these are the reasons for your arrest. And when he gets that, and that communication will be happening, I suspect, in front of the lawyers.
I see.
Or, because the lawyers have written, they've sent some requests.
I see.
If part of the request is for the reasons, they may be officially communicated. And when they get it, they will let us know. Because we have been coordinating this from here.
Okay.
So
there's a point, Professor Kojo Apiejetua. Good morning. He says,
my prof,
we cannot. Yes, it says we cannot rule out the element of possible mistrust as well because of some instances that have taken place. These other avenues that were resorted to in this particular case of having him detained, arrested outside of Ghana tells a lot more than we know.
Amanda's theory.
Yes.
What does that mean? I don't know.
So I mean, it's politically exposed people. It's a very sensitive area whereby their influence, their influence basically puts them in a special category, which means that influence can influence a case being disrupted potentially, etc.
Okay.
So when you're dealing with PEPs, politically exposed people, it's really important how investigations are carried out. Should you do 2 years' work and it's compromised? There is no suggestion, for instance, that our security agencies or intelligence agencies or even Interpol, there is no confirmation from government that any of those people had word of it. And if they did have word of it, then how come we're doing all the back work of now attempting to get him back and he's gone? Do you see what I mean?
Right.
If we knew, then, we could have better advised ourselves, and perhaps we could have been extended the courtesy by the US government. But I completely understand the rationale if we weren't, because the investigation might have been compromised. Everything in this case rests on the extradition process. The Hague has a higher threshold than the UK, and they're basically going to be looking at everything from abuse of process, procedural flaws, defective evidence, and human rights concerns. So should his lawyer or lawyers mount very strong evidence in that regard, The Hague is the place to be for that, because, they have created a lot of these sort of laws that we go by internationally. So if abuse of process, procedural flaws, defective evidence, and human rights concerns trump any evidential threshold that has been presented,
then he won't be deported. So it's very
Right.
interesting times ahead, I think.
I see. Quite a number of messages. Franklin says, good morning. Thank you so much for the legal enlightenment about this matter. The difference in opinion expressed across the table brings some of the questions that even we have on our minds answered. Not being told the reason for his arrest is one that I find says quite strange. I want the Honorable Dr. report to it says, I don't know if it's the hammer on it that you wanted to write, but I didn't get that.
Hammer. Let's call the Dutch ambassador, please,
Precisely.
before we continue on this and then we get X on our faces. Please,
Right.
no further comment on this thing.
Right. Absolute. And it's one thing that we could easily.
And the Black Rasta tip. Black Rasta, we should put him on. How did he get the audio? So that the authenticity, if it came from Ohene himself saying that he was informed about money laundering, why would we go on this trajectory again?
This one here says, good morning. I agree with Martin Pibble and Amanda Clinton that there is no way that legally it will be acceptable that somebody will be arrested, detained, or restricted and not being told the reason and not the offense. And you put that in caps. The reason for his or her arrest should be known even before their charges are read to them. There is nowhere on earth, unless in a banana republic, that you could be picked up this way, not in a diplomatic and democratic state. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let me say this. I am putting it on record that at the time of his arrest and restraining, a senior colleague, who is also a lawyer, demanded that, why? Tell us the reasons why you are impounding the man. They nearly physically molested him. Me, I'm telling you.
Really?
These are not suppositions.
Don't we see some of these?
These are not suppositions.
Don't we see some of these?
These are not suppositions. So people shouldn't sit in their homes and think that we
It's
are
all
supposing.
rosy.
We are giving an account of what has transpired. He stayed with him till about in the evening. He canceled
Matt,
his
are you not
flight.
the one
He
just
ma-
saying
he missed his
black
connection.
lives no matter? Are you the one
He
saying
missed his
why are
connection.
we
He
creating
missed
an
his
impression
connection.
as if
Stayed with him, was on the phone
is
with
rosy
me till
everywhere?
at night before he got another flight. He got a new connection to London. He was traveling to London. He stayed with him until leader flew from London to Heathrow.
No,
And
Schiphol.
Schiphol. He flew from Heathrow to Schiphol, and by then they have moved him into custody. So he went to engage him 2 to 3 hours.
Thank you.
So these people, like Prof, they are not angels. So as for the book,
that
we'll
one we
see
know.
what
But
the book.
slavery and everything we know. So, but let's verify from the Dutch ambassador. Let our foreign minister call him in. He has to be called in to answer.
Martin, how would my colleague MP who has been arrested told the reasons, and he's since been given a lawyer, and he won't tell the lawyer, and the lawyer himself too is not told, and they won't tell me that
this matter will not be settled around the table. Then.
I suppose that it may come.
Thank you, but
it hasn't come. Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge the presence of Mr. Kweku Ansah,
the great man.
Yes,
my boss.
Yes.
He is a former director of the Ghana School of Law, popularly called Makola, which may not have its monopoly.
What is may?
Or will not.
This one
shall not.
Thank you. Monopoly is evaporated.
Mr. Asare reminds me of Honorable B.J. Darocha. When I used to work at the IEA,
I see.
He used to always visit him every morning. Every morning he was at Mr. B.J. Darocha's office and to listen to nuggets of wisdom. I think the founding chairman of the MPP Dawocha exited, and now the leadership of the
Honorable
party
Ansari
NPP has been
Let's not go there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's not change the conversation.
This is not part of the conversation.
Let's not change the conversation. Let's not change the conversation.
I saw how he was looking at you.
I knew where he was going. I knew the angle he wanted to take. Let's not change the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Just a quick one on this particular matter involving the member of parliament who has been detained. Just a quick one, because I know you've been seated for quite a while. Before we move on to the
as
next
a lawyer,
issue.
I don't have the full facts,
Indeed.
and therefore I'm unable to make any objective comments. But I listened to the discussion, and as a minor correction to Honorable Dafia McCall's reference to conflict of laws. See, these are matters of public law, and conflict of laws is private international law, and therefore the rules of private international law will not be applicable, to this criminal.
No, I cited it because of procedure.
Yeah, the procedure. We have criminal procedure, we have civil procedure,
Yes.
and therefore reference to private international law rules, should be limited to the arena of private international law, so that we don't get mixed up.
Senior, at this stage.
Apart from other than that, I enjoyed everything.
At this stage, the man is facing a preliminary hearing under Dutch prosecutorial laws. Under Dutch prosecutorial law.
Thank you.
Which is public law.
But where we are is private.
All right, gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
That minor correction.
The student and the teacher.
Don't banter your teacher.
No. Which is private. Which is private. So you see, conflict of laws and public international don't work in isolation.
Thank you.
In fact, conflict of laws
that's an electoral student.
It's a major subject.
You know why I love this? It's not maths. Maths, if the maths teacher said 2 + 2 is 4, it's any matter. In law, everybody can now, so you need, for example, to be a judge to not settle the matter.
Thank you. Kwaku Asasare, former director of the Ghana School of Law, thank you very much for joining us. Before we go into the matter of the legal education reforms, which is now law, after the president accenting this week, let me tell you about the University of the Gold Coast. Whether you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, communications, operations and supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship and innovations, or business intelligence and analytics, or you want to advance through a dual MBA or Chartered Manager MBA, University of the Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in International Relations, Communications and International Marketing, International Law, Security and Diplomacy, Accounting and Finance, or Human Resource Management, an LLM, International Law, Security and Diplomacy, an MA in Biblical Studies, Practical Theology, the pathway is open. Apply now, because at the University of Gold Coast, we make it practical, flexible learning, flexible entry, flexible payment. Call them on these 2 numbers, 054-288-9045, 054-288-9045, or 026-388-8555, 026-388-8555. That's the University of the Gold Coast. And as always, the key point is proudly brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Advise your colleagues, friends, and family to activate their dormant account with Bank of Africa. Enjoy our refreshed products and services, including our enhanced SME support facility, the US dollar debit and credit cards, and more. You may also update your account and any other inquiries you need at the Bank of Africa branch near you with your Ghana card. Kindly reach our call center on 0302-429-333 or 0302-249-690, or you can chat Fafa at www.boaghana.com for support and inquiries. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And Keep On is also brought to you by GASEM, the nation builder. This week, the president accented into law the legal education reforms. And this is what the president had to say at that signing.
Open up, regulate legal education, and ensure the highest standards in terms of legal education, but also to open up the space, for more opportunity for legal education in Ghana. This particular act has been one that many aspiring lawyers have been looking up to. So it's been signed.
This effectively just takes away the monopoly of the Ghana School of Law, the Makola as we know it now. But these are key aspects. There's a new body that's going to be called the Council for Legal Education and Training, which will replace the General Legal Council in regulating legal education. The reform will also allow accredited universities to run the law practice training course instead of concentrating professional legal training only at the Ghana School of Law. Holders of Bachelor of Laws degrees will now apply directly to accredited universities for practical legal training before writing the bar exams. Universities are required to introduce disability-friendly legal education systems. Universities must establish a grades review committee to handle students' complaints over marks and grading fairness. The duration of the Bachelor of Laws degree remains 3 academic years under the law, or under the bill. But then, universities can disqualify students who consistently fail first-year exams. The law practice training program will last 1 academic year from September to June. Persons who fail the bar exam can take remedial courses and resit the exams. Foreign-trained lawyers from countries with reciprocal arrangements with Ghana can qualify for enrollment on the roll of lawyers after satisfying specific conditions. The bill revokes major sections of the Old Legal Profession Act 1960, effectively dismantling the old legal education framework and so many others that we've seen. And one of in fact, the major proponent of this particular bill is Nelson Roxon Dapiamekbo, who is with us in the studio. Honorable, beyond what I've just said, what's the effect of what we saw this week, or what has happened now?
Now, thank you very much. Maybe some history will do.
Okay.
Because there's been call for reforms in legal education for so long. Indeed, I'm happy my mentor is here, because as the director of law school, he supervised quite a bit in terms of reforming access. It's all been about access. So let's start from there. It's all been about access and quality. Now, during his time, even before he became a director, they had a program as part of addressing access, widening access, because the faculty then was only University of Ghana. So they introduced what they call the preliminary program. So first degree holders who were mainly public officers and had time would be admitted to, or were admitted to the program. So you do Prelim 1, Prelim 2, which technically were the courses taught at the LLB level. So if you passed, then you joined the graduates, the LLB graduates from Legon at Professional 1, Professional 2. And then you qualify to be called to the bar. So those category of lawyers don't have LLB.
Right.
They don't have LLB. And there are a lot of, some are senior judges now. So that the numbers that were emanating from the faculty, the law school itself introduced this program to beef up, to increase how many eventually will be called to the bar. And that was a very popular program with especially workers and people who couldn't pass the entrance exams. The the entry, the grade points. At that time, University of Ghana, you have to make A, B, or minimum 6, aggregate 6 A levels.
A levels,
yeah. Because I didn't get it. I got 7. I couldn't enter. 97. I had to go to University of Cape Coast.
The ABB.
Yeah, ABB. That's 5. And so it was so tough. So that became very popular. So people studied, even Workers' College, they quickly would do 4 years, and University of Ghana, that's adult education.
Yes.
And then quickly they write these exams. It was very popular entrance exams. So, and the results were published in the Daily Graphic. I used to follow it.
Keenly.
In fact, you are both their time he topped, Daily Graphic first, people like that. So he hasn't got LLB, but he's a good lawyer. So, but it got phased out when the federal courts came to not allow only Legon to continue to train. So Tech introduced law. Tech began with law and maybe English, but eventually they introduced the LLB. Come and see the arguments. A technical university set out to do engineering program. How are you going to train lawyers, produce lawyers? Eventually, they took off. So my batch 205, I entered 205, qualified from the faculty 207, 2 years. So when we're coming, the second batch of LLB products from Tech, they joined us. No entrance exam. Because the prelims had been phased out. So, because this faculty was now producing products. So law school phased out after senior left. They phased out the preliminary law program. And we went through 2 years, we were done, we left. But then the numbers, I think the explosion occurred because of the first petition hearing. 2012, 2013.
Okay.
That was where the explosion in the numbers.
The election petition.
Yes. Every young person wanted to get into law. So the numbers exploded. Law school didn't know what to do. So now they introduced entrance exams to sieve the thousands of applications they were receiving. It came with problems because they also introduced interview. So reforms had to be done in terms of the LI. So they brought LI 2355 because of the crisis in 2016-17. But it led to a crisis in 2018, if you recall. Nearly 2,000 applicants wrote the entrance exams, and they said only 128 had passed.
Yes.
So that was like 7%. No. The country, they exploded. Demonstrations, petitions. So eventually they brought one to Parliament. And then my committee went.
Was the Philemon line, those.
I think so. And we went into the matter. I brought our committee's report. So when we went to the floor, we made serious recommendations because we traced the problem. So eventually they agreed. GLC, that time it was IEB, that's Independent Examinations Board, agreed that they would take away the interviews because the interviews, you could be asked, because some of those were some of the testimonies before us when the petitioners appeared before the committee. They said they were asking that if you have a lawyer in your family. If you said no, that was your end. And so some chap said he had passed the exams 4 times, and on 4 different occasions they used that to sieve him out at the interview level. He was so emotionally distraught. So we took away the interview. So now you pass the entrance exams, you are in. That too came with problems. So the problem we had was that people were now sidestepping it. So we're getting complaints that some were not writing the exams, but they were getting admitted. And you are aware that even the GLC said when the matter became so topical, they needed to do some house cleaning. So the GLC had to set up an ad hoc committee to look into the matter. And findings of fact and recommendations were made. It was confirmed that indeed those things happened. But it was so scandalous that report has been sealed. But I'm sure one day it will be opened. So, if you recall, myself and Susu decided that no, we will file, Professor Okwe had then allowed us, we will file a private members bill to ask for reforms. We were completely dismissed by the GBA, senior members. They say we were small boys, all that.
They show you something.
So, but you see, by the nature of a private members bill, once the consequences will be so colossal in terms of effect, you needed to engage stakeholders. Whereas the Attorney General, they didn't bother.
Right.
When the GLC, they rubbished us. So we're looking for opportunity.
And now you're in power.
Yes. So we told our party that put this thing in your manifesto. When we come, we should do it. We will find favor. It was put in. Bam! This is where we are. So, you know, GLC, the School of Law, was established in 58 by Nkrumah, by policy. No legislation. What Act 32 did was to set up GLC and ask them to regulate legal education. But he didn't provide how it was to be offered. And in fact, if you check the law, there are provisions that graduates from the University of Ghana, if you obtain the LLB, they set all the standards. But they were not telling us who will be doing, how the professional training will be done. So Makola, we set the Ghana School of Law up with no basis in law, just a policy. So in fact, a president could have come one day and just abolished it.
I see.
So what we have done is to set it up in law, use the statute, this new statute, 1170, to set it up and to give it functions, definitive functions. Training professional lawyers, organizing the post-call law program, and also if the national bar exams is introduced and somebody sits and doesn't pass, they can organize it.
Right.
We're also asking that all the faculties now, they want to be called schools of laws. All of them who are producing LLBs now will apply for accreditation. And that, I think section 21, 22, 23, you apply for accreditation. And the entity set out under section 1 of the law, which is the Council for Legal Education Training, will review your application. They will have a director general and a registrar. They will review your application. When you meet the checklist set up for certified accreditation, then they will issue you with what we call the provisional license. When you are issued with the provisional license, you will take off.
I see.
Then eventually you'll be issued with the proper license, which is renewable, I believe, 5 years or so.
Every 5 years.
All right? Now, we also
So is this open to all faculties?
All faculties. Under the Constitution, are you going to deprive somebody?
Both private and public.
So, for instance, senior sitting here is Mount Crest, who has been very active and has produced big lawyers and judges. Are you going to tell him not to apply? How are you going to do that? He will shoot it down one time with a motion. So, that's why we are saying all the faculties, private, public, none is bad. Put in your application. In fact, let me also add that in the course of the engagements, the stakeholder engagements in formulating the law, they were all involved. So they knew a lot of the terms of the law that you see came from them. Even the standards, some of the provisions actually came from them verbatim. So they know what they put in the law and they know the requirements. So I know that they are putting their house in order.
I see.
They are actually ready.
What are the requirements for any faculty to be accredited? Do you have
for any faculty to be on top of my head, you must have a library of a certain standard. You must have faculty members, PhD holders of some distinction, of some level of publication, of some repute.
Okay.
You must have some facilities and such other. There are many. I don't have the law here.
I see.
Yes,
So,
but it's well outlined.
a well-resourced library.
Yeah, well-resourced library.
And
but
PhD
we have
holders.
indicated we have indicated what we are looking for when we say a well-resourced library.
Mm-hmm.
We have indicated even the volumes of books that you should have. They are all determinable. If you go to his library at Kanda, his library is well-resourced. And the number of volumes so there's a way of determining those things. Okay. Those ones will be featured in the regulations.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So when that happens, we're also reforming the curricula at the LLB. Because a lot of the subjects at the professional level, we think can be taught at the LLB.
I see.
Taxation, company law, family law, labor law, can all be taught at the LLB within the 3-year cycle. I did the LLB for 2 years. Post-first degree.
Your post-first degree LLB was 2 years.
Yes.
Now it's 3 years.
Yes, so we are saying that it's possible.
3 years is better so that there's less pressure.
No, we rather want you to be well baked at the LLB level. We are actually introducing a lot of practice-oriented courses.
Good.
So when you elevate to the professional level, it's 1 year. You are focusing on the core practice-oriented courses: civil procedure, criminal procedure, conveyancing, drafting. Me, I went out of law school before I mastered drafting because I didn't take drafting. Drafting was elective. I didn't take it at all.
I see.
But the senior who trained me said, "Hey, come to me."
So now, how is this new law addressing such instances?
Yeah, so drafting like this must be started from the LLB.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go to, within 3 years, you have a certain skills of drafting. So when you come to the professional, you only polish up and you go out. You go and get ready to write the national bar exams.
I see.
Okay.
So, and then for the number of years, if you're doing post-first degree, as existed until or before this law came into force, you do 3 years post-first degree, and then you do 2 years Makola. That would have been.
Now, a lot of post-first degrees are 4 years because of SS.
Post-first degree is.
The degrees are 4 years.
So degrees are 4 years.
Yes.
Is that going to change?
Now, we are leaving that to the Council for Legal Education and Training.
Okay.
Because they will have a say in. That's why in the law we are asking that in collaboration with GTech and the Education Regulatory Bodies Act, they would fashion how that will be done.
Okay.
Because it's all about standards.
Right.
And I can tell you that in this new framework, the standards are much higher than before.
Right.
Yes.
I see. Mr. Sasari, let's bring in here on this because you have headed the Ghana School of Law and listening to the details of the new phase of legal education. Does it answer some of the questions that you had prior to this becoming law, or as it were, improve on what you presided over as the Ghana School of Law Director?
Thank you very much. I think to a large extent, the reform will overhaul the existing structure of legal education. But before I go into it, let me take the opportunity to express my very sincere thanks to some youngsters I've identified as being in the forefront of all this. Honorable Nelson Dafiamepo, Honorable Xavier Sosu, Honorable Mahama Yariga, I think Professor Raymond Atukuba, himself, Professor Stephen Kwekwesari. I've watched closely, from afar, though, and I think that they've done a good job. One milestone, which is very, very significant, which is not being captured, is the point that Fiamepo raised. That is, that the law school had not been, the establishment of the law school in 1958 was not backed by law. And until 11th May this year, it remained unbacked by law. this is a significant milestone that the law school is now established by law. That is the Legal Education Act 2026, Act 1170. For me, this is the biggest achievement for a nation, that has been the vanguard of legal education in Africa. It was a very sorry spectacle to have our own law school not established by law. So this is a huge achievement, and I have consistently, commended President Mahama for, at least supporting, the advocacy of Dafia Mepo and the others. I'm short of doing politics. I think this is a good contribution. Now, the existing, and I'll invite Dafia Mepo, to fill the gap. The existing legal education framework did allow for entrance exam, but precisely when the problem arose, no one can tell. At least while a director, we didn't have any, entrance exam of the sort, that provoked the current reform. You will invite you to come and, write the exam. You pass, we'll paste the pass list on the board, and that was all. There was nothing like attend an interview. So over the years, the introduction of entrance exam and interview necessitated certain drastic change, and the change was not honestly implemented.
Right.
Honesty, integrity, fairness were all absent, and that brought about, the problem. Now, if we look at the current reform, the copy I have here, Legal Education Act 2026, has, provided a framework for anything that must be done. You can find it here. A reform cannot take place overnight.
Yeah.
And therefore, we should not
Absolutely.
expect and hope that Act 1170 is going to provide answers to every question and any question, that one may wish to ask. No. But maybe you can help. There is no commencement date here when this act will come into force. It's not there.
Okay.
So I'm at a loss as to whether it is taking immediate effect or that whilst we are waiting for Gazette notification, steps will be taken, to fill in the gap. That's my first comment on this. Then the second one, if you go to the interpretation provision, it says minister means the Minister for Justice.
Yeah.
It is an error. It should be the Attorney General. Because if we repeat the mistake that was made in Section 56 of the Legal Profession Act, which is the interpretation provision, fact 32, Minister for Justice can be any person the President may appoint to execute a function, in the capacity of a Minister for Justice. And I think it is an error that must be corrected immediately so that we don't play, politics with who is the Minister for Justice. So if tomorrow President Mahama decides that my fair lady Clinton is the Minister for Justice, then she becomes the spokesperson, on these matters. It must be corrected. So these are two, major loopholes. The commencement date. Every law must have a commencement date. Now, there's another person I wish, to comment. That's Honorable Asifwa doing his politics with the Dafia Mepo. But then, following them, I'm able, to refresh my memory on some of these, matters bordering us now. Honorable Dafia Mepo's stand is that the Legal Education Act, takes immediate effect. He is right, because that is, one of the objectives. to correct the ills of the existing system. Honorable Assefa says no, it is not. And therefore, whilst Honorable Daffia-Mekong is advocating that entrance exams have been abolished, which is true, because that is one of the cardinal aims and objectives of this act, abolishing entrance exam. But the existing applicable enactment is Act 32. That has not abolished entrance exam. And therefore, if the General Legal Council decides today to conduct entrance exam next week, it is lawful. And it will not be inconsistent with the provisions of Act 1170. Because Act 1170 hasn't come into force yet. And because it hasn't come into effect, we should continue to administer legal education by virtue of the provisions of Act 32 until such time that will be notified of the actual and precise commencement in date of Act 1170. But that is not to suggest that all that the current system is doing is uncalled for. It is a major feat in the annals of the history of legal education in this country. Perhaps as we implement the modalities, what should be added. For instance, it doesn't make room for training of paralegals. It is a deficit that we must correct. I mean, you are a lawyer, you don't have a law clerk. The people we use as law clerks, are SSS graduates, they are not up to scratch. And the time has come for the Council for Legal Education or the General Legal Council to establish a framework for the training of legal executives. So if I have a law clerk, that law clerk must be well qualified, to be able to assist. Some of them, I had a law clerk, Mr. Kwe, who used to be a law clerk in 1944 to Crown Council. And when he joined me in 1995, upon retirement from Legon, sometimes he would write my address for me.
Yeah, what they draft.
You see, but today we don't have those skilled personnel, and it is something that maybe Honorable Daffia-Mekong and those fighting, for access to justice should consider the training of paralegals of all sorts, legal executives of all sorts. Now, in 1958, Nkrumah, set up the law school to dilute the legal profession then. In 1958, Ghana had 360 lawyers, all of them trained abroad. Not a single one was trained here. So the 4 Inns of Court in England, filled our expectations as far as the lawyer population was concerned. And Nkrumah said the Africanization policy, was not consistent with that, and therefore Ghana should have its own law school. Today, the focus of the reform is not on diluting the foreign trained lawyers. The focus is to widen access for admission into several law schools and thereby widen access to justice. So these are, two issues,
and also
major
quality.
Issues.
You're also enhancing quality.
Yes, that I'll come to quality later. When Nkrumah said, we should Africanize, he emphasized that it should not be at the expense of quality, and that's when why he said the locally trained lawyers should be distributed across Africa for them to showcase the quality of the Ghanaian trained lawyer. So even in 58, Nkrumah was mindful. And if you read his speech that was delivered on the opening of the law school in 1961, he repeated the same thing. On 22nd July 1962, when the first batch of 9 lawyers were enrolled, he reasserted those in retreat views and said that go ye out there and showcase the stuff that is made out of the products of the Ghana School of Law. For me, these are historical things that should continue to guide us.
Right.
And therefore, for those who are saying that the reform that the current government has put in place will dilute, I beg to no, I don't think so. I think that if we go about it well, we will not only increase the lawyer population, but we will also enhance quality. And if you look at Section 2, of the Act,
right,
which our president, repeated, he said, Section 2, says that the object of the council is to regulate legal education in the country, to ensure the promotion and maintenance of the highest possible standards in legal education. The president repeated verbatim Section 2,
right,
which is something that should make all of us pleased that standards will be enhanced rather than be diluted.
Because that has been one of the issues raised by some persons who, had concerns about this new reforms and for the legal education, about this level of standard being sustained or improved, the quality as well being improved, and also whether this expanding the frontiers of legal education, access to legal education, could impact on quality and standards negatively, because then oversight over how this is run by the various universities or schools that will be granted accreditation may be difficult, and so then it could impact on the standards that we have now and the kind of lawyers that we are producing. Is it a concern that you share?
Yes and no. Yes, because if care is not taken, it is possible, that standards may fall. But Honorable Dafia Meko, made mention of the establishment of TEC. Indeed, TEC was established, the law faculty at TEC was established under my directorship.
Right.
And when it was established in October 2003, I became a beating anvil that I was diluting, that KNUST, was a science and technology university, what made me, think that they could Today, the TEC LLB is as good, if not better, than the Legon LLB.
I think last year they
have consistently, come first in the National Bar Finals. They have been sweeping almost every award, since they produced the first batch. So it all depends, on the quality assurance mechanism that will be established. When, TEC was being established, I made sure and insisted that they should wear black and white at TEC to distinguish them from other, students.
Oh, right.
So just as I was doing, yes, in Legon. And today, if you go to TEC, they are immaculately dressed. The moment you set foot there, you can tell who is a law student and who is not.
Oh, I think that black and white cuts across all the faculties now.
You see? So for me, I disagree, that the reform, is going to have a negative consequence, and therefore, today there is a writer's, point in the Daily Graphic that it is becoming a political issue and it's a political trap. I don't think so. Right. I think we should rather commend Dafia Meko and what's his name, Asefwa and the others for good work.
There are two questions that Mr. Zasari asked. Let me just get some quick response and I'll come to you. About the commencement date. That there's no commencement date for
I can't
this
find one. If you
for
can
this
help me.
act that has now been passed, and then also the matter of the entrance exam, which was actually a big issue.
Okay,
You know, when-
I'll deal with that. Now, Parliament will normally introduce a commencement date provision if the sponsors of the bill gives an indication as to when it should be implemented or when implementation should begin. So, an example, when we passed the RTI law, government had commissioned a fiscal impact analysis report, and were told that the first year of implementation may cost government in excess of 750 million. So, finance minister said, no. If we do immediate implementation, he couldn't cough this up. So, if you recall, we passed RTI, and we had to introduce commencement date to the ensuing year. I think January, I've forgotten when we passed it, but it was implemented the year after that, just to give government some time to mobilize resources. But where the sponsors of the bill have clear intention that it's upon assent, it is implemented effective immediately, you don't introduce commencement date. It's a style. I've drew legislation now. So if you study laws that are to be implemented effective immediately, you don't introduce commencement. You only introduce commencement just to indicate a delay in implementation effective immediately.
But in that case, Honorable,
yes,
the date of assent ought to have been, provided, assented to on, by the president on so and so date.
Is there? Which one do you have? No, which one do you have?
Is there?
Okay.
I was there.
The one I have has date of assent column, but there's no date. This one.
No date.
This one, this is, you see, it doesn't even have the official. There are a couple of versions. This is the pre-assent version.
So the one that you have.
Pre-assent. This is the pre-assent version. I have the assented one.
The assented one has the date.
Has everything.
Okay.
The signature of the clerk remitting the legislation.
So then a follow-up question.
Yes.
If it has, the assent date, when is implementation going to...
Effective immediately. That's how laws act.
And that is where the problem is.
There's no problem.
There's the problem. If it is immediately, then any intended entrance exam will be lawful.
I will address it. Okay. I'm coming to entrance exam. No. Entrance exam is abolished. In fact, it was not a mandatory requirement. GLC itself, they came, as part of the issues, they came to Parliament with a revised regulation, amending Regulation 2355/2018.
Yeah.
With Regulation...
The entrance exam.
Yes, with Regulation 2427/2020. In Regulation 1, this is what they said. That's the Legal Professional and Post-School Law Course Amendment Regulation 2020. In Regulation 1 of 2325,
no, 2355.
2355, 2018, they said the legal profession, blah, 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 Regulation 2018 LI 2355, referred to in this enactment as the principal enactment, is amended by the substitution for Regulation 1 of admission to the law school. The council may. That was when they moved from IEP to IEC. So even the entrance exams was
optional.
But they were using it because of the sheer numbers. That is why under this law, under Section 90, we repeal Regulation 1 to 22 of LI 2355/2018. That is the power of IEC to conduct any exams at all for School of Law, including entrance exams. So if that power is taken away from you, you can't even conduct internal exams for assessment. They don't have it.
There is the confusion. No. You see, Section 90.
Hold on.
Section 90 is on savings, isn't it?
No. That's revocation.
Revocation.
Section 90 is on
Section 90 is revocation.
Yes.
Okay. Then you go to 91.
Yes.
What does it say?
Savings.
savings.
And we are 93 transition. So I'll tell you. So we are saying that that's Parliament style. Any steps taken by the law school prior to the coming into force of this law is deemed to have been taken under this law, so that you save people who are currently students and structures that have been initiated.
Now look at section 92.
No, that's 93.
92. Look at 92.
Okay.
I don't have.
Despite.
Yes. Read 92.
Respectfully.
You read 92.
Despite the revocation and repeal of the provisions under sections 90 and 91, any regulation, bylaws, directives, notices, licenses, authorizations, appointments, or other act lawfully made under the repealed provisions and enforced immediately before the coming into force of this act shall be deemed to have been made under this act.
Yes.
That is where the problem...
There's no problem. What is enforced? Are you
immediately before the coming into force of this act?
Exactly.
When does this act come into force?
On 11th of May.
Where is it?
You see,
indicated?
No, you don't have to, because you don't have to introduce a commencement date.
So the entrance exam has been abolished.
Entrance exam is gone.
So wait. So those who are preparing for what is coming up now.
You see, let me tell you this. Let me say this. People have commercialized the entrance exams and are running what they call classes.
Law schools.
And no law schools. Otherwise, you'll be scandalizing your brothers.
No, they say law
private
school.
people.
That's the heading.
Private people are setting up private classes, supposedly teaching prospective law school students for purposes of entrance exam. Somebody come and say he paid 5,000, and they are like 300 and something in that class alone.
Wow.
And some of the lawyers will come, as for my class, when you attend, the pass rate is about 90%. We are the same lawyers who mark the entrance exam papers. This is what lawyers have turned the entrance exam to. It is those category of people who are so opposed. First, they said that, this law won't pass. Second, they said, the president is not interested, so he won't assent. When he assented, they said, even though he has assented, there's no money to implement it. So as for entrance exam, it must happen this year.
So will it come on or it will not?
It is not happening.
It won't happen.
Listen, you see, let's read the law. In section 45, we categorize admissions.
Yes.
The faculty admissions, we introduce deliberately entrance exam in 45(1)(a).
Yes.
It's there. When you go to 45, subsection 3, admission to the law school, no entrance exams. That is the you see, now the Ghana School of Law is set up to offer professional training in that category as well, because it will be accredited to do so. So when you are exiting from the LLB level to the professional level, we do not anticipate an entrance exam, but we anticipate an entrance exam for the entry to the LLB training.
Right.
So deliberately entrance exam for LLB admissions. But the professional, we are leaving that the modalities which will be uniform to the council to determine. And so the entrance to, so for instance, if I have a legal LLB and I want to come to Mount Crest School of Law, I'll just apply. And the admission criteria you use will not be different from what law school use.
Uniform.
Will not be different from what University of Cape Coast will use when they are accredited.
Okay.
So let me suggest a safety line. Please, for goodness sake, just introduce a commencement date to remove all doubt.
No, there's no
to remove all doubt.
There's no need to introducing a commencement date. It means you must go back and amend and do that.
The Conference of Law Deans will be meeting this afternoon.
Yes, I'm aware.
As we are aware, General Legal Council is meeting on Monday.
I'm aware.
It will do us a lot of good.
No, the Attorney General. Hold on. The Attorney General, who is the sponsor of the bill, spoke after assent. He said the implementation is effective immediately. He will take steps to put measures in place so that the things that must be done to give the implementation a smooth will be done. And he further said that we are aware that there were no budgetary allocations for this year because you couldn't have been allocating budget to an entity that does not exist. So going from October, November, the finance minister will make allocations for it from 2017 onwards.
2027.
2027 onwards. However, the implementation processes, nobody can tell me that we are not ready to do it. Setting up the council, appointing the director general and the registrar, these are principal officers.
Thank you. There are
to
a few
see
more questions that.
Yes.
Well, I just want to put a few things out there. When my brother was talking, he tried to take some political points out of this and tried to make it, we put it in a manifesto. Meanwhile, in our manifesto, in the MPP manifesto, in page 128, you see, they copied the manifesto from us.
Please.
But they didn't copy the second part of the manifesto. On a lighter note, let's take it like that, my brother. Stop it.
No.
You see, Professor mentioned paralegal.
Okay.
Now let me read. Just spare me 1 minute. Let me read.
Okay.
In 128 of our manifesto, we talk about the undertake a comprehensive review of professional legal education towards the conversion of the Ghana School of Law into a pure examination body, that is, into a council for professional legal education, and it goes on. The second part of that is what Professor talked about. Provide other special legal training as well as paralegal training to serve industry and other key stakeholders in the legal education sector. They copied the first one, forget the second one.
Let me
hold on.
Oh,
my brother, you have to respond to this. Let me make.
I won't allow you. I won't allow you. If I copy your manifesto, why didn't I copy all? You rather copied from us.
Okay, fine.
Because you see,
so the most important thing, we both had it.
No, you are in government.
Excellent.
Listen to what Parliament told you in 2018. 2018.
Yes.
Paragraph page 3 of report of the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Written petition by the National Association of Law Students seeking reforms in the country's legal education petition, December 2029. 2019, you know. This report was signed by Honorable Ben Abdallah Banda, chairman. Banda was an MPP, senior MPP ranking member in Parliament.
Okay.
Senior officer, chairman of Constitutional Legal. My chairman. Look, we urge the government
Fine.
to undertake this reform. You are not interested.
But we were going to do it under the leadership of Dr. Bawumia. But let me make my point.
2019, 5 years before 2024,
Let me make my point.
we gave you the roadmap, gave you ideas, even to the extent that we will introduce private members.
So you've done
you are
one.
not interested in support.
You've done
Today
one.
you want to
You've
steal
done
our
one.
glory.
We will do the paralegal training
Today,
when we come in.
Paralegal is infused in the law. If you read the curriculum review under section 49 of the law, LLB level, we are infusing practice-oriented programs. A paralegal is not a lawyer.
So that's fine. So that's on a lighter note. Let me go on my stuff.
It's not on a lighter note. It's been provided for.
Thank you.
Okay, so you see, Alfred, I think the problem that I side with Prof is that there are people who are already in the system, going through a process. You've done an act which doesn't repeal the entire 32. It repeals sections of the 32. Now, there's a conflict. What happens to the people who are already in there? And you see, bear in mind, you are the one who did the policy formulation. The policy implementers are the legal counsel and other things. So I think there should be a meeting, as my brother said, the policy framers and the implementers need to sit and basically come up with a roadmap.
There are 2 meetings happening.
But I don't think this act can be enforced immediately because there are sections of it that can start with the council because you don't even have the LI. You are yet to do an LI.
Please.
Do you want to?
Please, my brother.
Answer to that quickly.
When Parliament, organ of state, with legislative powers, when they enact a law and is assented to, unless Parliament intends a delay implementation,
But the implementer can delay it.
How would you delay it?
ROPA. We've had ROPA in our before how long?
Please,
ROPA has never been implemented by Energy.
So why didn't you sue?
No, nobody has sued. What I'm saying is that you are saying that Parliament can enact law, but the implementer can stop it.
I'm saying, please, there are certain things you don't say.
Which is?
Non-implementation is against the law. It's unlawful. So a citizen can actually go to court and demand that ROPA be implemented.
We agreed.
So don't suggest it.
Okay. So, but
when Parliament enacts a law,
but is there going to be an ally?
Please. Yes.
When is the ally? When is the ally?
We have given the minister within 12 months to come with an ally. Do you know how many laws?
Okay, so without the ally, can they still go ahead?
Who says it cannot be? The law has made provision for you to implement, and you are saying that without ally is only to give it to help to as it were provide final details.
So Honourable, what is the relevance of Section 88 then? So of the Act.
What does Section 88 say?
Yeah, about the ally that's to be made.
Yes.
The
minister shall, within 12 months after the coming into force of the Act, of this Act, on the advice of the Council by legislative instrument, make within 12 months.
Within 12 months.
Yes, within 12 months.
Yes, that's
so how do you reconcile Section 88 with what? With your
position of
saying that it is
immediate?
The absence of the ally does not bar the implementation of the law. Please.
But the ally will back its implementation.
Yes. No, the ally does not back implementation. Ally, legislative instrument, is only to provide final details.
Final details.
But
it does not prevent.
It does not prevent.
It's been spelled out.
There's a middle road.
It's been spelled out.
Wait, let me come. You see, my reading of it, okay, is that some of the things that depend on the LI,
you have to
cannot be done. For instance, the accreditation. It says that to be accredited, you need a library, blah, blah, and other standards to be prescribed in the LI. So without the LI, it means that accreditation, for me, from what I see,
it's not true.
because it conjoins and it says,
Please.
Can we go to the section? It says that X, Y, Z, and then other things to be done to the LI. So if you don't bring the LI, then how are you doing accreditation? Then you shouldn't have conjoined them. Because it just didn't say what you've stated is standards for accreditation. Excellent.
This is
after section 22. So after mentioning all this
up to 36.
Then they say do an LI. So why do you add the LI if you think from that time 22 to 36 is sufficient?
Okay, let me give you the answer. There is a provisional license. Provisional.
Who's going to issue the license?
Is the council.
Which council?
Have you read the law?
Yes, but the council is set up by which?
Have you read the law? Please.
Okay.
Please.
The provisional license is pursuant to Section 26.
Thank you. There's a provision for provisional license to take care of some. The schools are already in existence. Are you going to say that because a certain LI hasn't provided some final checklist, so University of Ghana, Mount Crest cannot be provisionally accredited to run a program?
I think there should be a transitional period.
No,
for the good implementation, there should be a transitional period.
You see, I think the problem is that, with all due respect, we must avert our mind to the terms of the law. Ideas are ideas. This is my idea. This is my idea. Won't help. Let's pay attention to what the law is providing for the way forward. Provisional. Ansasari is already producing LLB graduates of repute. So provisionally, when he applies and he meets the provisional criteria, he will be given provisional license. Within 2 years, he must come back for the substantive license. Meanwhile,
that's 27.
Yes. Meanwhile, the minister has been mandated under law that he shall within 12 months
88.
come with an ally. And the things that he must provide the ally for have been properly spelled out. So it's not a single ally, actually. So everybody should become.
So are you suggesting multiple allies?
Yes. There will be multiple allies.
I see.
Yes. Because you see, if you don't do that, then you have a very heavy ally.
So let me ask a question. How will it hurt? How will it hurt?
Yes.
If there's a single statement on commencement.
I see.
Oh, senior,
all right.
this commencement
So
you have addressed it, but it appears that you it's as if you don't want to accept.
Lawyers have
You don't want to accept that. I'm saying that where Parliament intends a delay in commencement, then they will introduce a commencement and indicate
explicitly.
Yes, but where the implementation is effective immediately,
then there's no need for.
Then there's no. For instance, if it's a tax, we pass a tax legislation, and they want to implement maybe in 6 months' time, we introduce a commencement. But if it is immediate effect, it's gone.
Okay, quick.
Okay, yes. So there's another MP who corroborates. Listen, honorables. Listen. So Honorable Sweeney says, when Parliament passes laws like we did to repeal Momo tax,
and
no commencement date is introduced because upon passing, it becomes law effective immediately. Of course, that's
unless as explained by Chief Whip, there's a reason to delay implementation. That's Al-Hassan Surini, the Deputy Rules Minister.
The Constitution is when they publish in the Gazette.
Yeah, it's done.
If it hasn't been published.
I think
not yet.
Council,
we've sent it for publication.
There's a little challenge.
Yeah, we've sent it for publication
right now.
Immediately on the 11th.
Quick one on this. Prof, I'll come to you.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, I think a lot of countries are introducing this sort of. I think a lot of countries are introducing this sort of thing. In terms of the UK, got away from the old rigid model. They moved away from BBC to apprenticeships, etc. And California, for instance, they did the approved California law school apprenticeship and unaccredited law school. But my ultimate point is, as generous as we are being with the new laws and as great as they are because it's inclusion, equality and disability access, we cannot forget that we should not remove gatekeeping to a certain extent. I mean, as a lawyer, I just refuse to accept that we need a gatekeeping to a certain extent. For instance, California is one of the most difficult bars to pass in the States, California, New York. And they've created a multitude of ways in which people can enter. But in that multitude of ways, including apprenticeship with a judge and, unaccredited law school or accredited law school, they do something called the baby bar. So the baby bar is it's like an examination of sorts. And then you do the full bar. And the reason I bring this up is we've got people like Kim Kardashian, for instance, an absolute billionaire, has accomplished everything she could ever want to in her life. But it shows you why the bar has standards.
Right.
Because she took all sorts of routes in order to get to this baby bar. And then she took the baby bar 4 times. And she has now officially declared, and this is someone who never gives up on anything, that she's not going to go ahead with the bar. Because she was met with the bar. And the bar is a standard. Do you see what I mean? And this is an incredibly important point because someone like her, for instance, could be running law firms. You know what I mean? Because there are some states that allow you to own law firms, to run it, and to treat it like some McDonald's model where you can, a business. Someone like her can do that and do that very effectively. But can she, in effect, write the bar? And the answer might be no. So, and apart from that, I really do think that we do need, whether we have this date set or not, we do need a transitional framework.
But does the matter of the quality and the standard still persist, taking into consideration the assurance that Mr. Sasari read, and then what the Honorable Daffy Amakpo as well reiterated, that there are certain benchmarks in place to ensure standards are sustained and actually even improved in this new regime? That doesn't answer.
But should it be standardized? Everybody should have the same end test, in my view. And I definitely think there should be a transitional framework. Are students applying under GLC or the new Council for Legal Education, for instance, at first instance? And I also think the head of the law school has said there's a live dispute where the Ghana Law School director is reported as saying that the new law does not automatically invalidate current admission arrangements and that the General Legal Counsel may still have authority
over the existing process until the new structure fully takes effect. And I mean, I think we just perhaps need a bit more clarity from, the executive about it. When is the Council for Legal Education and Training going to fully take over, or are we going to let this year slide where GLC takes over for a while? But honestly, I mean, all sorts of people can even run law firms but not be a lawyer, or do entrepreneurship and do different things. But what are we afraid of in terms of if you have soaked up 4 years experience, for instance, with an apprenticeship, with a judge or with a lawyer, and you've done all sorts of different ways, an accredited school, a non-accredited school, don't be afraid to write the bar. You know what I mean? If it's standardized. And we do need a standard because every other country that has introduced a multiplicity of ways of entering, including the UK, which has scrapped the BBC standard, and California, you still meet the bar.
Right.
And if we are not afraid of anything because we are ready for the bar, then let us soak up the knowledge from a judge, a lawyer, from an accredited school or non-accredited school, and let us see if there is some standardization. Because I do appreciate that...
So the entrance exam, should it remain or go?
Definitely. I think the entrance exam must remain. If you're looking at, should you change the wording slightly because it's preventing access to some people, then change the wording so that more people can understand what the question is, but you answer it. But there is no country in this world who has introduced a new standard, including the UK and California, where the students didn't eventually meet the bar. And if you want a live example, a woman was able to become a billionaire. She was able to accomplish everything in the world.
Right.
But because she does not have the mindset of a lawyer, she could not pass the bar, and she took the baby bar 4 times. Why? Because how you think of as a lawyer is different to how you think of as a person who can make billions of dollars, perhaps.
Right.
But there is, and there's a practicality about it. A person is sitting in front of you. Can you explain how the case is going to go, or can you explain it to the judge, etc., etc.? So if we are not afraid of the quality of students that we are producing, however we produce them, be it through apprenticeship or accredited school or non-accredited school, meet the bar and see if you get there.
If you meet the bar.
If you meet the bar, because, it's so ironic. Why did we call it the bar? Because you have got to meet a standard. And if you cannot think like a lawyer, I'm sorry, but that's not the profession you should be in. And I do take note of what was said earlier, that, it's completely unfair to be asked the question, do you come from a family of lawyers? Because I'm, for instance, 3 generations. So I might have been able to pass that question, and that would have been unfair. Do you see what I mean? Because that is not the standard in itself. But if you want to change certain things in order to grant access, you change the way the question is framed, you make it more practical, you make it more live, and so different types of training can answer that question. But you must be able to meet the bar, and I do hope that if a transitional framework is introduced within the next year, just to bring clarity to GLC as opposed to, this Council for Legal Education, even if it's just for a year, this is a change that's going to take effect for at least 100 years to the next 200 years. A transitional framework will not hurt.
Right.
And ultimately, I would say safeguards we cannot get away from, and we cannot remove the gatekeeping, because we're not trying to prevent brilliant minds. If you meet the standard of the bar, you will become a member.
Right. I know that there's a response you wanted to give to that quickly. I'll come to you, Prof. Please.
I think a different view
from all of it.
So allow me to
I would definitely come. You will have your time.
You cede your time to me.
No.
Amanda's approach, I think the focus, the apprehension is about the entry. It's not the exit. As for the exit, yes, you go through. You see, Let me also make this point. No law student is afraid of exams. In fact, as law students,
that one,
by the nature of the program, you're always examining. You're always examining. No, you are student. Law students don't fear exams. And in fact, when you become a lawyer, we always be examined or we are examining. So examination is part of what we do. I think the issue has been using the entrance exam to constricting the space, like Senior said. So now it's being widened. Attention is on. Now the argument is, look, if you read Article 106.11, when Parliament passes a law and is assented to and gazetted, implementation effective immediately, unless Parliament decides to delay.
Thank you.
If you also read the Interpretations Act, where there is no commencement provision, implementation is effective immediately. So we have vetted our minds to all this. There are a lot of laws that we have introduced commencement and they were effective immediately. Now, the issue about the airline, there are a lot of laws we've enacted.
Can you kindly hold on for me on the LI? I have to go for this quick break. When I'm back, Prof, you also have your take on it. Al-Hassan Suhuyini, the Deputy Roads Minister and Tamale North Member of Parliament.
Yes. Is he a lawyer?
Yes, but he's my colleague MP.
Yes,
No, I know he's a colleague, but is he a lawyer?
He's not.
But the message that you
Yes,
actually
read.
is one he sent in earlier. Al-Hassan Suhuyini, thank you so much for this. This one here also from Erica J, who is the CEO of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. Quite a long one. He says, good morning, Alfred. The leaders spoke well. Honorable Dafemepo, I'm very excited about how he presented his submission on legal education. Some of us really suffered in that law school.
He's scared of exams.
So this, wait, let me finish. So this is a happy moment for my friends who will benefit from the fruit of his labor. I'm personally very happy about the passage of the law, and I know my senior Philemon La Esquire will be just happy as I am as well, because you referenced that 2018 demonstration. On the issue of legal education reform in Ghana, I believe it is very important because it improves the quality of legal education and training, expands access to professional legal education, and strengthens the justice delivery system as a whole. In addition, I think it enhances effectiveness of the judicial system as well. Finally, it supports institutions like the General Legal Council itself in maintaining proper standards, discipline, and oversight within the profession. I think, but under this one, the GLC is going to be done away with, right?
Yeah.
Overall, the reform is a positive step forward for producing competent, ethical, and practice-ready lawyers who will serve society and strengthen the rule of law. Kudos to freedom fighters for this law. Erica J, thank you very much. This one here says, good morning. In the case of the Momo tax, although it was immediate, the telcos, who are the implementers, asked for time to recalibrate their billing system. If the implementers of the legal reform law ask for time to prepare, will same implementation window be granted in spite of the law taking effect immediately? That's the question to you.
The telcos were not the implementers. You see, we shouldn't be doing these things.
This one here says...
The Ministry of Communication was the implementer, and the Ministry of Finance. They have the discretion. No, these were administrative things.
Okay.
We are talking about administrative measures, not about implementation of a law.
Thank you very much.
So the telcos were not the implementers, please. We didn't enact a law for a telco to implement.
Thank you. I'm going to go for this quick break. When you're back, we would have the final part of this conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. I am clothed this morning by Kogra Clothing. Is the best version of you. With everything you see me wear on Saturday morning on the Key Point is by Kogra Clothing. You can call them on 0244 238 341. They are located on the Spintex Road, 18 Junction, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, same building with the Ghana Made store. That's Kogra Clothing for this outfit and more. Call them on 0244 238 341. And as always, the Key Point is proudly brought to you by GASEM, the nation builder, and also Bank of Africa. They are as strong as a group, as close as a partner. A number of your messages as we go on. This one here says, Frederick Jones says, good morning. I thank God for this new law because my daughter is in the law school level 200. And so when is she going to finish under this one? Because it would have actually been a 6-year period. Please find out from Dr. Mekpo how many years those who are in the system already will complete the cycle as against the 6 years. Is there going to be a reduction in the number of years now? Council, quick one. Because if you're going from level 100, you do 4 years and then you do 2 years Makola. Yes. That was the case. So it's 6 years. Yes. Now if you're doing post LLB, post first degree LLB, 5 years because you're doing 3 years and then 2 years Makola. What's going to change now?
Now the curriculum reform is advocating for 3 years.
3 years for what?
3 years for LLB.
Even if you're starting from level 100?
No. So there will be no level 100. It means 3 years will be level 200, 300, 400. That's how the university system works. Now, it will be up to the law school. You see, that is why when the LI comes, the law schools will have a uniform admission criteria. So the council will determine that if you are a post-first degree holder, like I did, the courses are structured in such a way that you can, you see, it's credit hours. They can arrange it in such a way that you enter at level 300 and...
Level 200, you mean?
No, 300, okay. 400, you have your LLB. But when you enter with a WASI, or is it WASI or
yeah,
SSC?
WASI. Yes. It's not called WASI.
WASI, okay. I get confused. Yes. Then you do the 3-year mandatory period.
Okay.
It is
and
something
then plus something because
we cannot legislate over those fine lines.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So let's see some. So there's a provision here that's general that the institutions will determine the duration. So I'm sure currently
subject to the approval by council. Admission must be uniform.
Yes,
is what we want to prevent.
So look at 55. It says an institution that runs a law program shall determine the duration of a Bachelor of Laws degree program in accordance with the statutes of the institution. So if Legon WASI, you are doing 4 years, it means that, yes, even with this, you will still have to do your 4 years. It cannot become...
that clarification. Thank you. It says, why would the bill state that effective immediately when schools work with academic calendar?
Oh, you see, the person hasn't read the law. No, but the law is not about schools alone. They are supposed to be statutory bodies.
This is from Bibi.
Yes, who is Bibi? Alfred, let me have my bite. So you forget to listen.
Me too, I haven't.
You've had yours.
Those are interventions.
I think we are going forward key points. We should do one-on-one key points because we come here plenty and then we don't have the time to talk. One-on-one key points. I come this week, it's me alone. You come, it's you alone. You don't give us enough time.
Is rejected.
Alfred, I am happy to...
Today you are in the minority.
I'm happy to be informed that now our law school is backed by law. So all this while, our law school and legal education wasn't backed by any law. Thanks to President Mahama.
No, legal education was backed by 32. What was missing was that we enacted 32 and created GLC, the General Legal Council, and gave them the power to regulate legal education without indicating in the law which institution will do the training.
So the law school, the Ghana Law School itself,
yes,
was not backed No, by any law.
It was just established by policy.
Okay, so it wasn't backed by any law. And so, thanks to you, thanks to Ayariga, thanks to Sosu, thanks to Kwekwaza, thanks to
the AG,
Raymond
Dr. Ayini.
Atuguba, thanks to Dr. Ayini, thanks to President Mahama for all working together to ensure that we now have a law backing the law school. And so we are no longer going to be producing illegal lawyers.
When I read, a lot of people didn't know.
Finish. We are no longer going to be producing illegal lawyers, and it means that Martin and Co. go back to ratify and regularize your laws that you have, because the law school that trained you wasn't backed by any law. But generally, let me go on to make the point. Let me go on to make the point. You see,
that is serious.
You should go ahead, go back to regularize your law, because the law school that trained you wasn't backed by any law.
Okay. Go ahead then.
We'll take you to court. Martin, you are telling me to go and do law. I won't do any law.
Okay.
All right, but the point I want to make is that I was listening to Honorable Dafia Makpo and saying that this whole idea is also to increase access to legal education. It means we want a lot of people to also get into that legal profession. And I am speaking now as a governance person, not a lawyer. All of you are lawyers, apart from you and I.
Yes.
Look, Ghana is not made up of only lawyers. So in constituting the panel, you have to rethink, because it's always lawyers.
You are not
no, please.
Today is in the minority.
All right. Now, Aristotle, in his postulations about political stability and development, spoke about the need for us to have optimum proportions of occupation within the body, within what they refer to as the polity. So he was saying that for every state to develop and for every state to become stable, you need optimum proportions of occupations, meaning you need some people to become lawyers, not all lawyers, but some must be masons, some must be doctors, some must be teachers, and all that.
Right.
It appears that in our part of the world, this law is good. But my argument is that we operate or we exist in a country that is not developed. And so we must not be so much interested in training a lot of people to become lawyers. Because after all, if we all become lawyers, what will it do to us? We are a developing country. We must work hard to extricate ourselves from the quagmires of poverty and underdevelopment. And we must focus on the kinds of training that lift us from the underdevelopment. And if we want to lift ourselves from underdevelopment, it is not letting everybody to become a lawyer. It lies the history of development show that countries that have developed place more emphasis on technical and vocational education and training. Unfortunately, among poor and developing countries, if you focus more on technical education, or if a child goes to school and he's given vocational education, I'm making your point. I'll come back to make your point for you. Let me finish. Why are you treating me like you treat Kudu?
Why am I his enemy?
The point I want to make is that yes, expanding access to legal education, it is good. And like I said, to the extent that we've been able to legalize the education that is being given by the law school, I applaud it. But I'm saying let's place more emphasis also and focus on TVET education. Because there is still a perpetuation of certain belief in the psyche of many people that if you go TVET education, there's a wabong. But if you go and learn law, it's just a wabbing. But the point is that we must discourage an abinful nation that is not developed and promote a kind of education more that gives us the technical people who will be able to power, our quest to educate ourselves on the requirements of under poverty and under government. That said, I want to commend Dafia Mekpo for leading this.
Let me counter him quickly. Look,
we're done.
Lawyers. When you train lawyers, the nation is better educated. That's number one. Better educated. Number one. Two.
So all of us should be lawyers.
No, that's not the point.
All of us should be lawyers.
I brought
I'm just saying that
we're
going
to do budget. We didn't do the budget. That's why I brought my laptop. Number two. Lawyers create chambers and recruits. They create employment.
This is offer.
Look, there was a 499 students who were told that they failed SRC.
No, but I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but I'm saying that we all cannot be
lawyers. Number 3, there are over 3,500 Ghanaians training.
But Alfred, you should apologize to our viewers who wanted us to do the budget. The IMF
Number 4, Frantz Fanon did not say in the wretched of the earth that the society doesn't need lawyers.
I didn't say we don't need lawyers.
Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM,